I tell you, Chrono Wolf really outdid himself with that one. I really love that video. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Saturday night stream. It is Saturday, January 28th, 2023, and I hope that everyone is doing okay as we move thoroughly into the new year completely. We've gotten to that stage of the year where saying Happy New Year to somebody means you really haven't seen them very much at this point where we've officially gotten into the new year. And that's good. Life goes on, and so do we, and I am very happy to have us back here for Day 7 of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment as we continue the section of our campaign called Planetfall. Before we go any further, we are sponsored, as always, I should say, in this campaign by Alligator Alley Entertainment. Before I go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube at !ArvTube. Discord is !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter is !ArvTweets, where you can always see when I'm going live and stuff like that. Thank you, by the way, for all the subs over on those places, both on Twitter, and Discord has had some more people, and ArvTube, YouTube has had some more subscribers. So thank you, everybody, and please let's keep that up. And please spread the word about this and other shows. That is always appreciated. Website for this, of course, is arvaneleron.com. Financially, !Arv Shop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff related to multiple campaigns, although there is a big overhaul that's going to be involved here. You're at the Jets versus Flyers game. Well, good luck to the Flyers. I don't actually know which you're a fan of, Amanda, but whatever it is, whether it's Winnipeg or whether it's Philly, good luck to either one who you're for. And thank you for stopping by. Yes. So let's see, where was I? Yes. So anyway, the website, arvaneleron.com. The shop, as I said, is going to have a major overhaul. So be aware that it is going to be changing in the not too distant future. !Arvtreon, that is our Patreon, sitting at 20 patrons, 203 per month. Looking to push that up even further as we continue to head north of the $200 figure. Again, that really is the financial backbone of the channel and makes it possible for me to do things like pay players, which is what I'm hoping to do down the line. Certainly pay the art vocalists, pay folks for the overlays and videos like the ones you just saw. Go Jets, go. All right, well then go Jets. Amen to that. So that is what I'm looking forward to being able to do more of, and that Patreon support makes that possible. Plus, you can get cool stuff for yourself as well. So we've got that going on, and I should mention that you can get inspirations to help our players there. We have not, December, we pretty much burned every inspiration known to man in that month because there were so many things going on in those campaigns. This month, it's been a lot more sort of lower key, not because things haven't been happening, because they have. We've had multiple surprises in our various campaigns and stuff like that, but just because it's sort of been the breath before the pause before the plunge in some ways, where there has not been as much combat in these sessions because of other things, just where the campaigns happen to sit. That will change tonight. There will be definitely some more combat stuff going on tonight. So both this and what I'll talk about in just a minute on Tuesday, you'll have a chance to use some of those things. But that is sort of an interesting oddity. But it means if you have inspirations to use, you can definitely feel free to use them today and on Tuesday, because we're almost at the end of the month. Again, the subbing to the channel is always appreciated. You can also get those custom sub badges to use everywhere across Twitch if you sub to the channel, so that's appreciated. Thanks to everyone who has subbed and resubbed as of late. And as a reminder, don't forget that cheers tonight, as a part of this campaign, cheers are split among the players. So any money that you give in the cheer amount. Last time we had something on the order of, I think, 2,400 bits. We had a lot of different bits, basically. And so, yes, there we go. It was actually 6464 was what we had in December. I always like to keep a record of it. So, yeah, anything that you support with in the form of a cheer is going to go to the players. I will add that up at the end of the month, and then I will distribute it. We only have one session of this per month, so we may hold on to some of it until later on. We will see, but yeah. So that is one way that you can support the players directly, and we're hoping to roll out this system to others down the line. That's what we're hoping to be able to do to other campaigns. So cheering is another good thing to do stuff. So we have that. Let me see. What else do I need to mention? On the publishing side, Exclamation Point Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Exclamation Point Library, my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook. So glad that I still get to use 5e on the pictures that you see there and the symbols. So glad that I don't have to crop that out now, thankfully. But anyway, that can be found with Exclamation Point Library, and Exclamation Point Greyshade is my Greyshade world. The Greyshade book launched last year. The second book in that series, the sequel to Greyshade, Renegade, will come out later this year. Heretic will come out next year and conclude the Grey Assassin trilogy. And later this year, we also have a tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade with Brandon O'Brien as the designer, coming out from this company that sponsors us for this campaign, Alligator Alley Entertainment, and an audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks coming out later this year too. So Greyshade is very much appreciated if people can support that with Exclamation Point Greyshade. Last but certainly not least, Exclamation Point BLM, Black Lives Matter. If you've paid any attention to what's been going on over the last week or so, the situation happening in Memphis, you will know that this continues and will continue to be a concern, and that's why we're going to continue to talk about it. Exclamation Point BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation Point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention, important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Exclamation Point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the fine people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage. They are doing so, as I say, very courageously, but they still need our assistance, and this is a way to step up and not only help them, but also send a message about helping others in the future. Last quick note about scheduling. We've got Mysterious Peaks tonight. We will not have anything going on Monday, on Sunday or Monday, but on Tuesday, we will be back here, and please note the time change at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll be over at GogCom's Twitch channel first at 1 p.m. Eastern, playing more Chained Echoes on my Pen and Pixel show over there. And then Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on January 31st, we are premiering Shire Adventures. I'm very excited about this. It is sponsored by Free League Publishing, and we are going to have the crew of Adventures of Middle-earth returning for Shire Adventures. That video is a ton of fun, too. I've just had a chance to see that. So, plus the overlays by TerryTunes, and it's all good. It's going to be great. I'm super excited for it. So definitely make sure that you stop by for the premiere of Shire Adventures at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a great time on Tuesday the 31st. But tonight, we have the incredible and amazing Expedition crew. So I'm going to unmute myself and apologize unreservedly for whoever I may have interrupted in doing so, because I can't hear them yet. And then I'm going to unmute them so now I can hear them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over to reveal the incredible crew, which is not in the right spot. I made a mistake. Terrible error. I have made Toya, Johnny, and Johnny Toya. And while they're both amazing people... Oh, hey, there we go. See, now it's back. You didn't even have a chance to change it. I was
magic.
Just like, yeah, it's a magic. Incredible. Thank you. It is a great pleasure to have the incredible crew back with us. So hello, team. Welcome in our march across the universe, space and fantasy-wise. I will start with the gentleman who was kind enough to just change his positioning for me here in the four squares. Top left, and that, of course, is Johnny Pippin. It's good to see you, Johnny. Last time I saw you, you were but a phone icon because you had joined us from the road. But here you are back in video form once again. It's good to see you, Johnny. How's life in the universe with you? And who are you playing in today's session?
Let's see. The last time that I joined you and I was that phone icon, I was sitting in a car with the heater on where it was like, I think 6 degrees outside, maybe 5, warming myself, going along the road and just having a good old time, enjoying that winter weather that we somehow have not seen since.
I know. What a dud.
It's really strange. And, not being in California when, and literally the town where I live in California getting hit by some of the worst weather. We had Biden visit, right? We had Newsom visit. It was a crazy time. And I'm sitting over here going, wow, that weather's really pretty, but I feel guilty. I'm just not there. So no, things are good. It's a new year. Good things are happening. And I am going to be playing a character tonight. I imagine we're probably going to play two characters, given the way pacing might go. But I'm playing characters tonight that I have completely lost the voices for. So we will be rediscovering Titus's voice.
I think it was
as far as I can remember,
if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and then if we end up back with the D&D characters, Beatrice is also going to be an interesting one to kind of find again. But the puppets are here. I'm ready to play some Esper Genesis-esque stuff with Titus Littlefoot. He's some sort of engineer. He's a Zek engineer. That's it. And that's me.
Awesome. It is good to see you, Johnny. And yes, this has been a very odd for folks in the Northeast/Atlantic seaboard. It's been a very odd kind of winter, by which I mean it really hasn't been much of one. And I keep saying this to my students that I'm going to say that, and then we'll get hit by like 55 blizzards in a row in February. But we'll see. Right now, my kids have been disappointed.
Have you guys gotten any snow up there at all?
No, like a couple snow showers and a dusting like a month and a half ago, and that's it. It feels like a Seattle winter, honestly. Like it felt like just mid 40s all the time.
We got sleet once the entire time. We got that cold weather and we got sleet once, and that's it. We haven't had snow or anything else. So I'm blown away. Yeah, so I'm disappointed with my East Coast winter. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come back in with a vengeance next winter, right? But anyway, always a pleasure to have Johnny with us. Also a pleasure to have Toya with us. And Toya Rudnell was saying before that was just about to compliment Johnny on his amazing hair. So I assume that compliment goes to you instead, as you were accidentally in the window for Johnny for just a brief moment. Happy New Year as well, because the first time I've seen you on person on the video today. How are you doing? How's life in the universe with you? Sorry about the Titans, by the way. I am.
Was it a fumble?
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna.
Was it a fumble? Was it not a fumble that happened in the subsequent weeks? Wasn't a fumble.
Wasn't a fumble. Yeah. It would have helped if the Titans had not lost how many games in a row. Anyway, I can't say anything.
It also would have helped if they hadn't lost their entire offensive line and several defensive players weren't the most injured team in the league.
That's true. I can't deny it. I as a Steelers fan, have been sitting from home in the same way. But despite that, you have a chance to take out that fury against these innocent, cute animals we'll talk about in a minute. How are you doing, Toya? How's life in the universe with you, and who are you playing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. In fact, you're talking about winter. We had that bomb cyclone, so I imagine that I in Nashville, Tennessee, have seen more snow than
I think so.
Either you or Johnny.
Yeah.
Which isn't odd because Nashville weather is very strange. I mean, you would think climate change has been going on in Nashville for the past 1,000 years the way it is here. Anyway, I'm good. I am going to be playing Dr. Naomi Winterfield, who is an adept dream shaper. She is no nonsense in her 50s. And yeah, she's very no nonsense. She took a tumble last time. Tried to talk to some furballs. She didn't get close to him, but she tried to talk to him. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, I'm excited to see how the furball conversation at the other end of a weapon goes this time. We will see. But always a pleasure to have Toya with us. Also a pleasure, of course, to have Kat Rambo with us. And of course, Kat was making very clear, yes, I am aware that for you, this feeling of like, oh, where's all the snow? But you kept it all as my point, Kat. You just decided to like take it and dump it on your own house.
Dude, I am on day 3 of opening my front door and just going, nope, and staying inside. So
Yeah, it's distribution of the snow that's the real problem, I think, across the country. Other than that, other than those kind of weather concerns, again, Happy New Year to you publicly, Kat. How's life in the universe with you, and who are you playing in our campaign today?
Life is very good, and I am running a cache specialist whose name is Ziriel Fel-Zahali of the Kea whose black net ID is Jewel 5 ampersand.
Indeed, and we're going to get a chance to see how Ziriel's work is. Again, I'm very interested to see what these folks eventually choose as their main characters going forward. We will see. But it was always a pleasure to have Kat with us, and it is finally, and last but certainly not least, a pleasure to have Zach with us. I won't publicly say Happy New Year to Zach because we have seen Zach before publicly on this channel with your vocalists and the like. So, so I won't say that, but I will say, how is life over the last few days since I last spoke to you, sir? How's everything going? And who are you playing in this magnificent adventure of ours?
Life is good. Life needs things to live, as a Taliesin Jaffe once said. Mm-hmm. And yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. Had a great time at our vocalist earlier this week, and excited for the future of that as well. Which we got some cool things going on in the background there for all of you in the community.
Yep.
But tonight I'm here playing Dr. Keldon Jaraxxus, a Dendus Cybermancer celebrity. That's yep, there you go. Here we go.
Celebrity and influencer.
Yeah,
yes.
That is the name of his background, celebrity.
It's very exciting to have a modern day YouTube. Something comforting in the fact that even in the far future, we'll still have influencers.
Oh yeah,
that's just such a comforting experience. But it's good to see everybody, and chat. Welcome to all of you. All right, let's talk a little bit about what happened in our last session, and I will fire up the music to be able to do that. We've got Space Explorers rolling, and I think that works for this, so let's do it. In our last session, the crew of the ship that was orbiting Planetfall, the Sunrider, has come to this planet following a stronger version, basically a triangulated version of the signal that they originally detected in a mysterious derelict freighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy. They found their way to this planet, but they found that they were not alone in arriving there, or at least virtually not alone, because the AI of the Sunrider ended up being overridden by some kind of strange virus, which may have been uploaded from the planetary defenses or may have existed in the Sunrider to begin with. No one is 100% sure. Regardless, the crew had a hell of a time keeping from just crashing the entire ship face first into the mountainside. They managed to keep themselves more or less level and alive when they arrived on the planet, but they found themselves in a very difficult situation. They have not a lot of supplies, not a whole lot of power left, and now they are on this mysterious planet, which, although it is clearly the source of this signal, also is totally unknown to them. And so the party decided that it had to set out. It made its way towards a crystalline forest, found their way through said crystalline forest, and then managed to climb down on one side of it because they were actually on a large plateau up in the mountains, and so decided to make their way gradually down off that plateau. As has been previously discussed, not everyone made it down from the crystalline forest in exactly the same one piece. We had a couple of tumbles and so on, but people got out of it. It's fine. Nobody died at the time, and they managed to get up and to make their way down towards the forest that they saw with a mountain stream. Once arriving, there were two things of note that need to be pointed out. The first is that when they got towards the actual real, not crystalline forest, they heard this terrifying roar, and above them, overhead, they saw this massive reptilian creature with leathery wings roaring and heading directly towards the crash site of the Sunrider. The party quite sensibly decided that attempting to run back, climb the rope, and then go running after this reptilian creature was probably A, not going to arrive in time, and B, not be useful to them since they're not likely to survive against whatever the hell that thing was. And so they decided the best thing that they could do is try to continue on and find some example of civilization from which they might get some help. So they entered the forest and discovered there a group of extraordinarily friendly, happy creatures. And I have pointed this out on the stream. You can see this right now. It's overlaid over Johnny's face.
They're
So
so
this is them. See, that's Johnny, super cute. So those were the creatures, and they looked super cute. And all of that seemed fine until this happened. And they got close enough. I believe it was Dr. Winterfield tried to connect and be like, it's okay. And then they decided that they would leap to the attack. I should point out that this was predicted by literally everyone in chat. They were all like, this is not, they're like, Arv is being way too smug about this, blah, blah, blah. And
Let it stand that I was one of few people who genuinely did not think that they were
right.
evil creatures.
Exactly. And here
I'm in that boat too.
Yeah. See, you see the balance and error in the system. So they are now dealing with this creature. You wanted to go pet them, Emily? Well, yeah. See, that's exactly what I mean. That's the normal feeling that these creatures would give you. I'll put that right in the center so we can have a sense of what we're dealing with here. And so as our session begins, I'm just going to grab my handy dandy threats database from behind me so I can pull up the stats for these things. And I'm going to ask everyone to roll initiative, please, as these things attack. Yes, Titus, before anything happens.
Can we confirm hit points? Because I believe we did a short rest, and I believe that some hit dice were spent, and et cetera, et cetera. It would be great to be able to confirm that particular part, so we know if we're heading for that TPK we're all expecting.
So okay, I have Titus at 15 out of 17 hit points right now. Is that right?
That's correct.
I have Zerial at 9 out of 9. Okay, I have Dr. Draxus at 10 out of 15. Is that right, Zach?
Yes.
And then
yes.
I have Dr. Winterfield at 10 out of 15. Yes, Toya? That's what
I
have
have
you at.
15 on my sheet, but I may not have updated
Did
it.
you take a tumble?
I did.
Yeah, I
Then
think
that's probably
the tumble was from where we were at, I believe. I think that's where that came from.
cool.
And seems logical since everyone else seems to be right, I think. So,
Right.
Okay. So let me fire up some appropriate combat music. This music is not quite right for this setting. Let's go with, let's see. Okay. All right. And I'm going to pop up the things here. And let me just grab my threats database.
What are we doing? What are we going to do?
Just remember, everyone, it's always an option to run. There's no shame in running. That being said,
Absolutely true.
the first thing I'm doing is Eldritch Blast, like or Sprite Beam.
In the face.
Yeah.
Attack Tribble, really, original. I just showed my son the Trouble with Tribbles episode for the first time. It was very,
that's great.
it was very good.
Did he want one immediately?
He was very much like he didn't know what to make of it, and then he was just like, he says like, are they bad? I was like, well, no, they're just sort of, and I explained the whole thing about they just eat a lot, and he was like, oh, he's like, okay. He was actually sad when a bunch of them are poisoned. He's like, does that mean they're dead? I'm like, yes, but there are many more of them, says Dad, trying to figure out how to. There's lots more where that came from, son. Anyway, he did really like it. He also thought the thing at the end where the Tribbles are transported off the ship was very funny. He's like, oh, because the Klingons don't like them. I'm like, that's right. He's like, that's funny. Like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Anyway,
Nice.
Anyway, okay, so I want to point out, by the way, that the first line of description of this creature in the threats database is, "It looks so cute," are often the final words of foolish explorers that stray too close to a SETI snapper.
Oh, no.
So that's great. Just to be clear on this, I do not have a battle map for this. I'm afraid we're looking at some theater of the mind here. There are two of those creatures that are, in quotes, I guess I should say adults might be the way to describe it. But I should mention that behind them, you also can all make out what looks like a sort of an undulating mass, but I don't want to make it seem like it's a mile long. There's a lot of like what looks like fur behind them that's moving in your direction. They don't look as big. You're wondering if there's like, it's either a moving carpet or there are babies. We will see if that's actually true, but that is.
I don't like this. This is.
Did somebody say run?
I did.
Yeah, I
Can
like
we get a description of the terrain again?
Yes, I will be happy to provide that. So, make sure I got that in the right spot. Yes. Yeah. So you are in a basically on a forest path. There are trees above you, deciduous-looking trees that are above you. It is much less slippery here, I should say, than outside. You might remember it was very damp and rainy, and so kind of difficult to get a footing. In here, there's no such problem. You have plenty of traction. There's actually some leaves on the ground, so you can get traction there. There are sort of some bushes and shrubs off to the side, although this is not a super dense forest, at least as far in as you are. But you're probably a good 15 minutes from the entrance of the forest, and right outside is where you saw the reptilian leathery creature that you may all be familiar with in another context that was flying towards the ship.
Naomi did tell everybody it was a dragon.
Oh, did I mention it was a dragon?
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah. So it's a dragon. So there's that was where you saw the dragon. But you're about 15 minutes inside the forest there. So the terrain is fairly flat. It's slightly sloped down towards the creatures that you're fighting, slightly, but not like a deep slope or anything like that. Visibility is okay. Because you have, I forget where the light source was that you folks brought in here that you were using. I don't remember. But there's not like a ton of ambient light, but there's nothing blocking your view. That's why you can see these creatures heading in your direction. And there's only 2 of these apparently adult cute creatures that you see in front of you. So that's the terrain. Let me see what we got for initiative for me. And okay. Right. All right. So you folks have theirs. Okay. So we have got 10 for Zerial. Looks like we have got a 15 for Dr. Jaraxxus. We have got a 3 for Dr. Winterfield, who is taken aback at this sudden but inevitable betrayal by the furry creature. And last but certainly not least, we have, which is identical to Titus's last initiative roll, also of a 22. So very impressive. Okay, so I think it means we are good to go. Titus, you are up first.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. One of us is close enough to be in contact, or essentially like in physical range.
Dr. Winterfield,
the rest of us the rest of us are a little far back.
Yeah, not far back, but a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we're a little far back, and the undulating mass that is behind these 2, what would be considered adult. How far do we see that extend back into the darkness? Like, is it like we can't see the end of it, kind of a thing?
No, and that's why I wanted to not overstate the undulating mass. No, it's not like 500 feet of undulating mass. No, it doesn't look to be that large. It just looks like there are, as you look at it, probably maybe a set of little constituent creatures. Definitely smaller in height, much smaller in height than the 2 that you're fighting right now that are obvious in front of you. It doesn't extend that far back. I don't know exactly. It's maybe maybe 3 by 3 feet. Let's say in diameter. Maybe a lot of little creatures in that 3 by 3 feet, but yeah.
I just want to point out how intensely sellable these baby creatures would be.
100%.
Off the parent.
Yes.
Okay. just pointing that out, as a good specialist would.
Also, thank you to Arudinel for the 500 cheer. That's starting us out right. Again, chat, as cheers are made, those will be distributed among the players. So thank you, Arudinel.
Does anybody have a flamethrower?
I do not.
All right. Setting precedence here. I mean, do we really want to fight these guys? I'm doing a little metagaming here only because.
Jaraxxus looks like he wants to say something to Dr. Winterfield, and he's not making a move to attack yet. But that's all. I know it's not my turn.
All right. I agree with that stance, and Titus is wants to save versus. And so Titus is going to hold his action. And he's going to hold his action, and he's going to pull out his pistol. But he's not going to do it in a threatening way. But what he's waiting for is an attack of any kind. If anybody gets like in physical combat of any kind, or there's any type of sort of like attack towards any of us, that's when he's going to engage, and he's going to shoot one of the two adults.
Okay.
So that's the condition.
Okay, so give me the hold condition again. I'm sorry, I was just putting up. Thank you for the 100 cheer dragon spear as well. Sorry. So give me the hold condition then. So you got
the hold condition is anybody gets attacked.
Okay.
For any reason, shooting one of the adults.
Fire away. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, it is the two adults who go next. Apparently, one of them, Titus, looks towards you. And suddenly, towards you and Dr. Winterfield, its eyes get very large and round and cute. I would remind you all of this. And, just kind of like the eyes get cuter and cuter.
So round.
And as those eyes are getting so incredibly cute, Titus, you feel this sort of strange sensation wash over you. I need Dr. Winterfield and Titus to make for me, please, a wisdom saving throw.
Dear God.
Okay, so which dice do I use in here?
So you've got D20, and then you're going to be looking for whatever your wisdom score is. Wow, nice. Okay, we'll talk about
strong,
that crit success. That's so funny. All right, I'm going to come back to that in a minute.
So my wisdom, my wisdom is 14, and I have a bonus of 4.
Yep. So then you'd be 20 plus 4. Although your 4 isn't off of the shouldn't be off of a 14. Is that adding your proficiency maybe? Bonus to that. Okay. So yeah. So for the save, so let's have you do the plus 4 for now. Not
so I just
so
roll...
just 20 plus 4 would be what you would roll for that then.
Okay. I'm always trying to figure out which dice I'm supposed to roll in here.
Yeah, it should be D20.
Okay. I didn't roll in the right place.
Did you roll in our Zoom chat?
Okay, it's 15 plus 4.
Plus 4 is 19. Okay. So yeah, so both of you have this experience. For a moment, you're just like, they're so cute though. They're so like, how can beasts, how can the universe have such cute creatures that could also be dangerous? And then both of you sort of catch sight of the slight mark of the teeth. Yeah, exactly, just right above them, and you're like, this thing's. And I think you are both aware. Probably Titus initially is aware. That there is a moment where you felt like you were being almost taken over. Not entirely, but you had a sense that you were being, it felt almost entranced or drugged. Now, what I have to ask Titus is, I don't know whether this is classified for you in your mind as an attack. If so, then I would say this would be the time for you to fire away since you have a held action. But it depends on what you view it as. They definitely were attempting to influence you, though.
Influence is different than attack, and that could be a defensive mechanism.
It was more than just their eyes getting wider, is my point.
So, okay, wait a minute. So we're seeing a grin of teeth, even if it's just a slight grin of teeth kind of a thing?
That's right, yes. So I'm not trying to push you one way or the other. I just want to... your hold condition, because of what they did, is a little... uninteresting.
I still think Titus is going to show restraint.
Okay.
And just be like, yeah, just twitchy a little bit, bristling, of the whiskers a little bit, but still sort of like having that stoic sort of like holding on to his action part, because he's waiting to find this out.
Gotcha. Okay. The second one, again, with its eyes sort of wide, starts making its way a little bit off to the side. It's kind of looking at where you are. Ziriel and Jaraxxus, but you get the feeling as you're watching it that it's kind of like, so you have the one that's in front of you. This other one almost looks like it's sidestepping, like, and circling somehow, separating from the other creature.
With the way that we rolled our saves,
Right?
Are we specifically aware that we were being influenced in
Yes.
a way that? Okay, then Titus is going to speak up, and he's going to say, "Watch yourselves. They're trying to influence us. Be careful."
It appears that the wider their eyes get, the more influence they're trying to wield.
Indeed. And that leads us to, and no further attack, but you can see one of them is almost moving around the sort of positioning itself somehow. And that leads us to Dr. Jaraxxus. Dr. Jaraxxus, what would you like to do? Besides
Dr.
record
Jaraxxus,
immediately. I know.
Who, yeah, I was literally just about to point out, is recording, as always.
Of course.
Funny that the game actually gives you items to literally do that. But anyway, Dr. Jaraxxus...
They were thinking of you.
Thanks. They will call out to Dr. Winterfield and say,
Doctor, those rations that you picked up, throw the rations, and then we can run or something.
and I will hold my action to not hold an attack, but one of the pieces of adventuring gear that I have is a flashlight. And so I guess I'd like to, like, I have maybe the flashlight on right now, and it's not pointing at the creatures, but I guess what Dr. Jaraxxus would do is, if the creatures attack us, then I will try to directly point the flashlight at them in an attempt to blind them or confuse them.
Okay.
Just to see if that does anything. But I'm basically, like, right now the flashlight's out, not aimed at them, but then if they make aggressive moves, his move is going to try to be to blind them in any way he can.
Gotcha. Okay. That brings us up to Ziriel, who is up next.
Well, you're all very, very, very nice, and I myself am going to throw a combat knife at the closest.
Let's all be careful.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All
so
right,
go ahead
then.
and make
There's
your-
a 22 hit.
right between the eyes, Ziriel. Let's roll damage, please.
Yeah.
I should ask, by the way, were you throwing it at the one that was trying to position itself, or the one that did the big googly eyes
The one
thing?
that's trying to position itself.
Got it. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I love
That's
it.
really funny.
I'd like to think, that I'm holding the flashlight, calling over to Dr. Winterfield,
7.
and then a knife just flies right by.
So, first of all, you strike it, and it does this me as it's struck between the eyes. And the other one sort of looks at it and kind of looks up at you. And behind you hear this, and that's coming from the undulating swarm. So it looks at you with horror, with the knife just, sort of like vibrating as it sticks
Is it
there.
dead?
Nope. No, it is not.
Wow. Okay.
It is definitely, you definitely heard it though. I mean, you hit it for sure and damaged it. So it sort of is like staring, at you. Little pause at it. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't do that. But it is standing there as it's been hit with a knife. Ziriel, are you moving anywhere? Back, forward, the side?
I'll take a couple steps back. I think it's better if the larger members of the party are between me and these things. So yeah, absolutely.
Seems reasonable. Okay, Dr. Winterfield, you are up next.
You sure your name ain't Fob? Anyway.
Already channeling Fob, right? Already getting ready.
So I've got some questions about what my options are.
Okay.
So if I wanted to throw the rations, I wouldn't want to throw all of them. I'd want to take like one and like crumble it up and throw it. But like, would I be able to move back at the same time?
Oh, I think so, sure. You're not that far, so you'd be able to throw it depending on what you're throwing it at too. Like the swarm, one of the adults, the one with the knife
The
sticking
one,
between
one of
its
the
eyes.
adults, the one that is closest to Dr. Winterfield and to Titus.
Okay, that would be the one that was just struck between the eyes. Actually, no, I take that back.
That's the other one.
No, I take it back. Winterfield and Titus, right? He was doing the googly eyes. Okay, so yeah, you could do that. I think so. How? Now it is technically within melee range of you. So, Dr. Winterfield, you would need to disengage, simply meaning you step back 5 feet without it like attacking you for free, and you could then literally throw a ration at its feet. So you could back up 5 feet and chuck a ration right at it, and you would definitely hit it. You wouldn't even have to roll for it. It's right there.
So I don't want to throw the whole ration. If I were going to throw it, I would crumble it into pieces and then throw it.
Okay, here's what I'll say. I'll allow that to happen, but because of the way the rations are, you probably, if you do that, it means the other ration, like, let's say you broke it into 2 pieces, right? Or something like that. If you throw it at the feet of this creature, I would allow you to do that again for one of the other creatures, but it wouldn't really function as a ration for you anymore. You follow what I mean? Like, you've broken it apart too much at that
Right,
point. So if you're cool with that,
4.
that's fine. Okay, yeah,
I've
that's
got
fine.
4.
Then sure, you could do that.
So that wasn't my only question, but you
okay.
you gave me another question.
Okay.
Why would I have to throw it at its feet?
Or whatever.
Like,
or
could I throw
right
it
at its
over
face.
its head away
You could do that too.
from
Sure.
us? Okay. The other question I had, so I have a couple of, what are these abilities called? What are they called specifically? I have talents that I could use.
Yep.
And I would want to know, I'm asking the team here, if I use a talent, should it be the Synaptic Recoil or the Psyblast? The Psyblast, you launch a streaming coil of psychic energy at a target you can see, make a ranged channeling attack. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 psychic damage. The target also loses any benefit from cover against your next attack roll against it. The effect lasts until either the end of your next turn or whenever you hit another target with this power, whichever comes first. And then Synaptic Recoil is... onto it.
I love the names of these talents so much, by the way. Psyblast, Synaptic Recoil.
Okay, Synaptic Recoil is you unleash a wave of psychic feedback upon one creature of your choice within range, racking it with terrible pain. The target must take a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from you. The creature doesn't move into obviously dangerous ground such as fire or pit. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and doesn't have to move away. A creature with immunity to psychic damage automatically succeeds on the save. So the problem is we don't know if, these are like psychic creatures that are already immune. So if I use a talent, which one should I use?
It's up to you, but I think the one that has a chance to make it go away from you is pretty good. But then also, I think you'd have to check with Arv. I'm not sure that you could use a talent and throw this ration in the same turn.
Oh no, I was thinking I couldn't if I had to choose between. Could I do that?
No. I mean, you would probably have to decide one way or the other between the 2 of them. Yeah.
If she's not aiming at something,
I will
bonus
say,
action.
Yeah, I was just about to say that actually. Or not a bonus action. What I would allow is if you don't move, I would allow you to chuck something and use a talent.
Okay, how close is it to me?
5 feet.
Well, if I did both, this is what I would do. I'm not saying I'm still weighing my options. Okay. If I did both, what I would do is throw the ration over its head first, and I would wait to see if it moves, and then I would zap it.
The thing is, because this is all happening, what you can do is you can do that and see whether it like glances in that direction or something. But you won't be able to wait long enough to see if it moves because this is technically happening within a few seconds, right? Like 5-6 seconds. You really wouldn't have time before also having to start doing your talent. So, yeah.
So if I threw it and I see it glance, I could move back too.
Theoretically.
Right.
Yep.
And if I throw it and wait to see if it glances, I could zap it.
Yes, you could. Right, that's right.
Okay.
But waiting
so,
means like within a second. Like you're just sort of like, is it like this or does it not pay attention type of thing?
right, but either way, I'm going to have to see how it reacts.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to break the ration in half.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw it over the thing's head in the opposite direction away from Titus and Dr.
All of you. Okay. You do that. The creature in front of you does not react at all. It's still staring at you. But the little undulating mass sort of and the undulating mass seems to be stopped and focused around the ration.
Okay.
But the creature that's staring at you paid zero attention.
Okay, so I'm going to hit the creature paying zero attention to me.
Well, no, zero attention to the ration. It's paying all attention to you.
No. I meant that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these talents at the same time.
Yeah, no problem.
Psy Blaster, Synaptic Recoil. Psy Blaster. I guess I'm gonna try to hit it with the Synaptic Recoil.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. All right. So let's see. It means I have to, or they have to rather, make a Wisdom saving throw. Let's find out how wise these little furry creatures are. Apparently not overly wise. It does not save. I'm here to tell you. So I would like you to roll 3d6 to see the damage that you have done to this darling little creature.
3d6.
3d6.
Okay. So when I go into the roll 20 thing, that's the little d6 thing and the 3 on the chart?
That's right.
Okay.
All right, 11 points of damage. Okay. So, yes, you strike it. Its eyes sort of, and then contort in obvious pain. And then it turns and just sort of like GTFOs. It immediately moves in its reaction and moves away from you, literally into, or just like sort of at the leading edge of the swarm, which is all focused at the moment on eating your ration. Also, something very disturbing, Dr. Winterfield, is that you feel like the ration is already half consumed after about 3 seconds. Just saying. But it definitely has moved away from you, and it is very freaked out, apparently. So you have done what you hoped you would. Okay, last to go is this swarm of creatures, and what they do is spend a lot of time consuming the ration you threw. So that is all that they do. That brings us up to the top of the round with Titus. Titus, you've got one that all looks like it's moving into a flank position, so to speak, that has a knife between its eyes from Zerial, and you have the other one that is currently running away as fast as its little cute legs will carry it into a swarm after whatever Dr. Winterfield did to it.
I'm sorry. What I was too busy in chat talking about merchandising. So
Merchandise. Yeah, Mixed Messages is a great crew name. Oh my goodness.
it is.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
At this point, Titus is just, gonna just assess the situation, reach into his pocket, throw his own ration towards the group, and go, "It's fine. This is fine. We're fine," and blast the hell out of the one with the knife, and it's sticking out of its head.
So you're all just like food blast, like that's basically food destroy. Okay. Okay, so you can do.
You got to
that,
keep the
Titus.
youngins busy. So
No, it's true. The ration, and again, are you doing like the half ration, like Dr. Winterfield did, or are you doing the full? The full.
Oh no,
ration?
I'm doing the full ration. We need to keep these little suckers busy long enough for us to be able to figure out whatever else is going on.
Okay. Now go ahead and make your attack on the knife holding creature.
Jeez, how does a 9 work?
That unfortunately is not going to do it. So it just you miss. It fire the blast hits the ground behind it, and it's meh, the knife vibrates. And you having done that means you can't have moved, so that's fine. So that brings us up to these creatures. Now the one that is running is going to continue to move at least until. Actually, let me double check. When does that synthetic recoil?
I think
Okay,
it just
for its
uses its
So
reaction.
it can come
Yeah.
back. Okay. Right. So it is going to turn around. You'll be happy to know, though, that it is slightly held back, Dr. Winterfield, by the swarm of whatever that is eating furiously the rations that have been thrown against it, which means that it doesn't actually get back into melee range until now. So now it is back, and it won't be able to attack you this turn. The one with the knife, though, is going to be able to attack. And it's going to go, let's see, so Zerial was behind it. I think probably what it's going to do is going to aim for Titus, which is somewhat closer. So, and also the blast of which just missed. So this creature lunges towards you, Titus, and leaps up in this sort of terrifying way where it leaps up and then turns with its mouth open, just like this, as it heads towards your body. And we're going to see whether it hits you when it does all
Now,
that.
the Jaraxxus was holding to his action to see if they attacked. Use
That's
the
right, and it
flashlight.
is definitely attacking. So you can try to do something
Yeah.
in the midst of this.
Is that something that I could maybe like impose a slight, maybe not mechanical disadvantage, but as I shine the light as it leaps out, maybe
You can try.
would
You
be-
don't know whether flashlight light is going to have any effect on
Of
this, but you could
course.
certainly do that. Yes.
yeah. So
Um,
I'll do that now if I can.
Yep.
As it attacks.
You flash it on its eyes. It definitely seems like it notices it, but it doesn't seem like it's slowed down. These don't look like
Right.
creatures of the darkness necessarily, but it doesn't seem to be slowed down by it. You do completely illuminate, however,
Yeah,
its
I
terrifying
have perfect
face.
lighting for the following.
And I point out
Uh,
the dice always follow the narrative, so it just critically missed. So maybe
Great.
that explains
Great,
that that's
cool,
what happened.
cool.
So Titus, this thing soars over your head as you're like, and then lands and then turns around, looking at you from the other direction. Okay, that's going to lead us to Dr. Jaraxxus is up next.
All
Zerial
right.
is on deck.
I will. I'll simply say,
All right, I think it's time for me to hop in here.
and I will shoot out a sprite beam, which I'd like to imagine is just the spinning coil of Esper energy. But if you look very, very, very close, you see it's made up of the characters and emojis of the many comments and chat messages of my
It's a
following.
bunch of thumbs ups, basically.
Right. But it's mostly just looks like a beam of light.
Oh
but it
my
is called
God.
sprite beam, so
It's an
you know.
influencer.
It's a bunch of poop emojis.
It's just like, oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
please,
again-
please make
again,
that attack for
yeah.
your.
With no suspension of disbelief here. You have to look very, very like you have to pause it at at 1 hour and 53 seconds in order to see that. So all right, here we go. That's a 10 for you.
Unfortunately, despite how much I desperately wanted this thing to hit, based on that description, it does not. It unfortunately misses it. I should have asked. You were firing it at the one
Oh,
that just attacked
yeah,
Titus, or the
yeah.
one that was okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and to be
Yeah.
clear, the one that is currently does not have a knife is in front of Dr. Winterfield. The one that has got the knife between its eyes is currently facing Titus, but unfortunately, Dr. Jaraxxus missed it. You
Right.
can, though, Jaraxxus, move if you'd like, because you haven't had your movement this turn. It's
Yeah.
up to you.
How far away? How close is the closest of these creatures to me right now?
Probably about 10 feet, I would say. In fact, both
Okay.
of them are probably 10 feet. One of them is engaged with Dr. Winterfield. One of them engaged with Titus.
Okay.
Having just missed Titus.
Jaraxxus will certainly use his 30 feet of movement to move 30 feet away
Okay.
from all of that.
Diagonally back. Okay, fair enough.
Right.
Good stuff. Zerial, that brings us to you. Dr. Winterfield will be on deck. What would you like to do? There's room for
Well,
another knife on
I'm
its
going to
body,
hit-
theoretically.
What?
There's room for
Sorry,
another
what?
knife on its body if you want.
I'm going to throw another knife at that one.
Okay.
And see if I can't knock it out.
Okay.
Does a 10 hit?
A 10 does not hit, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So
Well-
that knife goes past it.
Then I'm going to use my bonus action. Since I'm level 2, I now have cunning action, which allows me to now hide, which I will do.
Okay.
Great.
Do you want to hide? There's a little bit of scrub brush and bushes to the side of the
I
farce
just
track.
seem to fucking melt into a bush. Like I throw the knife and then just
All right, Zerial vanishes essentially from view. Outstanding. That leads us to Dr. Winterfield. What would you like to do? You have the one that you freaked out and hid is back for more, apparently.
Yeah, well, Dr. Winterfield ain't. So Dr. Winterfield is going to run 30 feet away. Where is Jaraxxus exactly now?
So you're in front. Jaraxxus, I imagine, is behind you to the right. Maybe about close to, not 10 feet now, I guess about 25 or 30 feet, however far Jaraxxus moved. So behind you to the right. Titus is behind you to the left, and Ziriel has vanished somewhere.
So Dr. Winterfield is going to start making her retreat. Hopefully the rest of the team will follow suit.
Okay.
And go in the direction that Jaraxxus went.
To be clear, you're going to double move here, right? Because you're going to disengage 5 feet and then run. Because if you just run, it could theoretically attack you as you leave. If you disengage first and then run, then it can't do that.
Yes, I'm disengaging first because
Okay.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. Because that's an attack of opportunity if you just move. But if you disengage and then you move, it means you can't do anything else in your turn, but you just wanted to run anyway. So you could definitely do that. You make your way away from it down the path. The swarm of little creatures has now consumed all of Dr. Winterfield's ration and seems to be about halfway through Titus's ration. And that brings us back up to the aforementioned Titus. Titus, what would you like to do? 2 injured adults around you.
Titus is going to grab another full ration of premium beefy spicy potato flavor, throw it all the way out towards the undulating mass again, and turn to the one that attacked him and fire.
Okay. You can do all of that. The ration, I want you all to imagine in chat that the ration hits the top of the undulating mass and the players too, and then just starts to sink as it's being just consumed by this thing. Okay. Go ahead and fire away at this thing, which missed you. You're doing great with the rations, but not so much with the shots. That, unfortunately, is a miss. I'm sorry to say. That's right. Don't forget, chat, inspirations are a thing that exist. I just want to throw that out there.
We are going to run out of rations at some point.
You know. We still have one for you?
I've never used it.
Yep.
We got to use this up so I don't keep forgetting about it.
Well, I'm holding on to it.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So you have done that. Titus, unfortunately, did not hit. This one is now going to jump up at you. Again.
Damn it.
I'm happy to note, though, that neither one of you seems to be able to hit the other one. This one misses you again. So you dodge again as it leaps over your head and lands again on the other side.
We're tiny targets, man. Like we're fighting each other. We're both tiny.
It's true. The other one is going to head directly towards, let's see. It's probably going to run after the one that was closest to it. So it's probably going to run after Dr. Winterfield, I think. So the other one is just like running after you as you try to run away, Dr. Winterfield. It will not catch up to you this turn. Well, I mean, it will catch up to you, but it can't attack you because you double moved. So that now leads us to the swarm is still occupied, as I mentioned. So that brings us to Dr. Jaraxxus. All right, Dr. Jaraxxus, still 2 injured ones, one that keeps trying to hit Titus. They're having a slap fight that isn't working so well right now.
The doctor, I think, is going to just take another shot. That's the best he can do to get
At
rid of
knife
these
guy
creatures.
or the one on Titus guy? The knife guy is running after Dr. Winterfield. The Titus guy is just...
I'm gonna shoot the one that's
Oh, no,
going
I take
after
that back.
Dr. Winter.
Yeah, no, then I'm sorry. It's the knife guy who's attacking... I beg your pardon. It's the knife guy who's attacking Titus. And the other one is going on Dr. Winterfield. They've both been injured, though.
Right. I'll choose the one that's going after Dr. Winterfield.
Okay. Titus has been inspired by Arudinel, by the way. Thank you,
Great.
Arudinel, very much.
Thank you, Arudinel.
High proximity.
I'll
Okay.
shoot out another beam, and that's
a
an
hit.
unnatural 20.
For
Yeah,
sure.
look at that.
Absolutely a hit.
All right, and then I'll just double check the damage, which is
Against
for a
cute
sprite
furry
beam.
creatures, add 60-20.
Right, 1d10 force damage.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Watch, I'm gonna roll 1. No, I rolled a 7.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, that was on the knife one or not the knife one? That was
The one that's going after Dr. Winterfield.
right, which is the not knife one. Okay. Okay. So you do hit it, and a couple of things happen. First of all, it's definitely hurt. It's not dead. definitely hurt. But it turns and like looks at you.
Oh no.
Dr. Draxus. It is definitely stops attacking Dr. Winterfield now. Draxus, are you moving anywhere?
I'm currently like 40 feet away from them?
I would say that's about right. They've actually run up on you. Actually, it might be more like 15 feet because they ran up on you first.
I'll move my full 30-foot movement away.
Full retreat.
That's the thing.
Got
Sprite
it.
Beam's got a long range, so
Yep.
yeah, I'll just back up.
All right. That works. That brings us up to Ziriel with Dr. Winterfield on deck. Ziriel, you're in the shadows, unseen. I think you're muted, Kat.
Out of the shadows will come another knife.
Okay. It's not a knife. That's a knife. Okay. And at the knife one, I assume the one that already has
Yes.
knives. Okay.
Does an 18 hit?
Sure does. Yep.
Six points.
6. Okay. Also hurt. And let's see. You're not quite at the sneak attack level yet, because I was going to say that definitely would have qualified. This thing. So this thing now has 2 knives sticking out of it, and you hear again the. And it sort of is like this very strange thing where it's like, and 2 knives as it sort of is like looking for where the attack came from. And then Ziriel, are you staying where you are?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to hide again.
It's like melt. Got it.
Zero, you're a specialist?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think you do have sneak attack. It says beginning at first level, the Death Strike. Do you have?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that-
do have the
Yeah,
death
then you-
strike, but I thought that was hand to hand, not thrown.
Let me check. Because this would qualify for sure.
It says it must use a finesse or a ranged weapon, which usually a
Oh,
throwing
okay.
knife.
Yeah, no,
can
then
be
add that damage.
finesse.
It's definitely a sneak
But
attack.
it's once per turn, right? Not once per round.
That, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't matter.
Kind
in
of the
this case,
same
though,
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sometimes. Okay, so I will add another roll 1d6.
Yeah.
Oops. There.
Well, Tony's like, what do you want me to do with that?
It's like, here
There
you
you
go.
go, two.
D6. Okay. All right. So, yes, very solidly hit. Looking fairly hurt now, although not right at death's door, but fairly hurt. And again, looking for you. Okay, Ziriel melts into the shadows again, and Dr. Winterfield is up next.
Can I recoil and run?
You can, you can definitely do the same thing you did last time, which is just disengage 5 and then bail. You can definitely do that.
No. I mean, hit it with a synaptic
Oh, I
recoil
see.
and then run.
You can okay, yes, but you can hit it with a recoil and then try to run, but you would incur an attack of opportunity. Or you could hit it with a recoil and then disengage 5 feet. So you still wouldn't be able to run further than that, but at least you wouldn't be in immediate melee contact. It could, however, move up to you, theoretically, and attack on its turn. So it depends on whether you want to risk the attack of opportunity or not.
Okay, and I did like synaptic recoil wrong the last time because I also have like the advantage of being at rank 2 or higher. The damage increases by 1d6.
Did you use it at rank 2 though? It's not if you're 2. It's whether the thing that you're using is at level 2, at rank 2. Because typically that means you have to be a higher level, and then you can use rank 2 talents, and you could cast it as if it were a rank 2 talent.
Okay,
You see what I mean? So that's
sort of.
yeah, yeah. No, I know it's all new mechanics, but for you, but like as you get up in levels, you will eventually be able to start casting things at higher level slots using higher level ranks. So I think for this one, since you're level 2, that's probably not the case.
Okay,
So
so
I
you're
think
saying that I could use synaptic recoil and then disengage and move back 5 feet? Is that what you're saying?
Right, safely, or you could use synaptic recoil and run, and if it misses you, then you get to move your full, movement. But it might not miss you.
there's always the chance too, because the effect of that spell, if successful, causes it to run. So
That's
then
true,
you
and then
just-
you could just bail anyway. That's right.
Yeah.
So how close is this one to Jiraxus and Winterfield?
To you, it's probably right up on top of you because it's been running after you. Although once it was hit by Jiraxus, sort of Jiraxus got its attention. It's also possible it won't attack you when you run away after you hit it,
Yeah.
because it's looking at Dr. Jiraxus, who just hit it. That's possible too.
Well,
So,
if
yeah.
I hit it, it's going to retreat anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, if I hit it, it retreats.
Right, and if you miss it, maybe it won't even notice. So yeah, it's about 5 feet from you. It's about, I would say about, you ran up on top of him, so probably about 30 feet maybe from Dr. Draxus.
Because Dr. Drax, okay. I'll try to hit it with synaptic recoil again.
Okay.
And then disengage.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw, right? Let's see if it does that. No, it does not. So you get to roll damage against it.
Okay. So that's the 3-6.
Yep, 3d6.
13.
13,
Awesome.
nice. Okay. It looks exceedingly hurt. Like you can actually see like little trickles of like blood coming from inside.
Oh, that's so
And it
sad.
turns, and then it just like like hops / runs towards the swarm. Looks exceedingly hurt. Okay, so you can now, you don't have to disengage. You could actually just move normally if you want.
Yeah, I'm booking it 30 feet
Okay.
in
So
Draxus' direction.
So you do so. The swarm has now consumed all of the previous rations, is about halfway through the new ration thrown at it by Titus. That brings us up to the top of the round. Titus very badly hurt, one that's running away from Dr. Winterfield, and then the one that the slap fight battle of the two versus this creature with all these knives in it, you still have there.
Well, slap fight continues as Titus throws another premium beefy into the crowd
Okay.
and aims and fires.
Okay.
And we're going to use that. That inspiration.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
I'll take a 20.
There we go. The 20.
Nice.
That 20 definitely hits for sure.
I think for Arudinal that breaks the curse.
It breaks the curse.
Uh,
That's true, Rudinel. The inspiration worked. What's up,
Mhm.
Pilnus? That is not Pookie from Red Dragon Inn. No, it is a. Although I could see that. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll
So-
your damage for this thing.
Oh my. Okay. Let's do one.
I like to imagine that you use Zeriel's 2 knives as a guide, like basically just shoot between the knives.
Yeah, I'm targeting. It's all
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're all good.
Exactly.
So, anyways, yeah. So 4 points of damage.
Okay, so you hit that, starting to look fairly hurt now. Also exceedingly irritated with you. You will have a chance to, now it is technically in melee range from you, so you could back up 5 feet if you wish, or stay where you are. Oh no, I'm sorry, because you threw the food. Never mind. No,
I did throw the
you
food
have to stay
again. I
where
got to
you
keep
are.
the babies all busy
That's
with the premium beefy.
That definitely has
all
helped
right.
that. So that means that it is going to again slap fight attack you by leaping up. I don't know. That is a 18.
Yes, that is a hit.
Okay.
That is a hit. I do not like to admit that, but that is a hit.
You finally have hit each other collectively
Cheers.
in one fight. It is going to do
Yeah.
6 piercing damage. But there's a little more.
Of course there
So
is. What's the
6
saving throw?
So 6 so 6 piercing damage. You're also
Oh,
going to
God.
take an additional point of poison damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please. As you feel some burning as the teeth plunge into your side. Hey, Drew.
I'm not happy about this. I should have saved my saving throw or my advantage for this, but damn it.
Well, but now you hit
All
it. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that 6 points?
Yeah, that's going to be
Or sorry, it's not 6 points. About a 6. Sorry.
it's going to be a bit of an issue here. So
A
what
tiny
that
bit.
means is, for right now, is that you feel this this stuff sort of kind of surging into your veins. You are poisoned, Titus. The impact of this poison upon you is that when you are poisoned, it means you have disadvantage on ability rolls, attack rolls and ability checks. You don't know how long this poison is going to last. Obviously, it can be removed if though some of you have some kind of healing equivalent that allows you to do that. Otherwise, you don't know when the poison will naturally clear. But at the moment, you are poisoned. Doesn't do
All right,
additional
so-
damage, though. You're just poisoned.
All right, so just to be clear, 6 points of piercing, 1 point of poison,
And poison.
and poisons, disadvantage on ability checks, and
Yeah. Not a great round for the
attack
home
rolls.
team. Yeah.
No, thanks for that. Love the cute creatures. I'm gonna go back over here and try to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do now. All right, go ahead.
Okay. The meanwhile, the creature that was looking at that has been horribly hurt is running away. Was running away, and now turns and runs. Basically, hops full speed back in the direction of Dr. Winterfield, but is not going to be able to reach and attack you this turn. So that is going to lead us now to Dr. Jaraxxus with Ziriel on deck. Jaraxxus, one very badly hurt one that was running away and is now running back, and the other one that just bit Titus for a lot.
Right. Yeah, if that one's badly hurt, I'm going to try to finish the job. So
Okay.
I will shoot a sprite beam
Sprite beam.
directly at it. And as I do that, I say,
Don't worry, Titus, we're here.
try to sound extra heroic for the recording.
Please tell me that you yell, "Smash that like button!" Please.
No,
Yeah,
I
okay.
say, well, that's a 16.
16 will hit. So I guess you
Great.
did smash that like button.
And a 10.
Nice.
On the
Okay.
D10.
I'm sorry. You said this is the one that was on Titus.
This is the one, whichever one looks like it's on death's door. You said one
Okay.
was super injured.
Yeah, that one. So there's this moment where it's hopping full speed towards Dr. Winterfield, and you blow it away. Just like fire it back. Just constant thumbs up all over it.
Is there fur chunks flying?
Yes, literally fur chunks falling all over the place. Some of them land on the undulating mass, and you have this horrifying moment of seeing a couple of those fur chunks also sink into the mass. But
I ain't
then,
horrified.
but then, as soon as that happens, you see the mass. Once that happens, the mass almost immediately, in this bizarre sort of experience, disappear, like almost just kind of breaks up, and little creatures. And now that they are not in a mass, you can see they are little mini creatures like this big adult one, and they all flitter away, scamper away, and just disappear into the bushes, into little cracks in the ground, and so forth. So now there is just the one remaining adult with the knives hanging out of it.
Jeez.
So
Yeah, the only
Jaraxxus,
other
you're now
thing-
free to do whatever you want as far as movement is concerned.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna move towards Titus. However far 30 feet will bring me closer to him.
Probably within 10 feet or so, I would say. So you can do
Okay,
that.
just so I could be another potential target
Okay.
instead of him. And the only other thing Jaraxxus will say is,
Wow, life must be tough for whatever these things are.
and that's it.
I have this image of you as David Attenborough. I'm standing in a pile of backwater looking at these creatures.
Yes.
All right. So that's going to bring us to Ziriel. Ziriel, the one with knives, has a couple knives in it, still alive.
Yes, I'm going to try once again. Fuck. I'm going to presume a 6 did not hit.
Sadly, no. Knife goes
No.
flying out of the bush, but to no avail. So back into the shadows with you? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Then that's going to bring us to Dr. Winterfield. One adult remains.
So am I within 60 feet of this one?
Yes.
So I'm going to stay where I am, and I'm going to recoil this little sucker too.
Sounds good. Quick check on this. These are all rank 1 talents. I just want to make sure you're probably fine, but I just want to make sure that we haven't used up all of your spells, your talents, excuse me, yet. So I think this is all.
We are
rank-
level 2 though, right?
Yeah, that's right. So probably fine. That's why I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
And this is all. These were all rank 1s that you were using, right? So all of the ones you've used so far are rank 1 talents, I think.
Let me look. I'm sure. Yes.
Okay. All right. So give me one sec. Let me just make sure because it's probably fine. Right. No, not that one. This one. Okay. Oh, it's because I'm looking. I was like, why am I not finding? Because it's an adept. An adept. That's why. Yes. So you have. Right, so you have 6 talent points. Okay, yep, that's fine. All right, lovely. So you fire away at this thing. Synaptic recoil, so it again has to make this wisdom saving throw. This time I think it probably did. 14, and I think your channeling talent is going to be lower than that. It probably was like a 13, I'm guessing.
How
That it had
do
to override?
how do I look at that?
So if you look at under adept, if you look at what your channeling talent is based on, it is based on your charisma modifier. So the save DC
Okay.
is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. That's the
Okay,
DC.
so my charisma is 16,
Should be a 3 then.
and
So-
then and also so the creature's going to take half as much damage. It's still going to take damage.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Okay.
So it takes damage either way.
Okay. All right. So it did save in this case, but go ahead and roll your damage. Let's see how much it takes.
11.
Okay. 11. So that means we'll...
It's just not going to run
add
away.
6. Okay. So so it looks it looks quite hurt now itself, even though it does not run away. Good stuff, Dr. Winterfield. Are you moving at all, or are you staying where you are?
Okay, where is everybody positioned now?
So Zerial is still not to be seen. Titus is currently dealing with some poison pretty close to you, probably about 10 feet or so to your left. Dr. Jaraxis is moving towards Titus, but behind you, maybe 10 feet behind you and moving towards Titus.
I'll stay where I am.
Okay. That means the swarm is currently not on the field, so never mind them. And that brings us up to the top of the round. Titus, you felt better, and you have this very hurt knife-holding creature with you.
This is fine. It's fine. And blasting the hell out of that thing again.
Really blasted this time. Okay. Go ahead and fire away. Remember, this is going to be at disadvantage, unfortunately, due to poison.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. Thank you for the reminder. I do appreciate it. Well, a 6 is probably going to be bad, but how about another 6? You take the choice of which one seems worse.
I like the image, though, that you hold the gun and then point it as you fire, like you're going to make it somehow go faster. Sadly does not hit. And the creature retaliates by attempting to leap at you again. Actually,
It's
do you
fine.
want to move? Do you want to disengage 5 feet or not? Or because you didn't throw food this time, so you could do that if you want.
And all the little the little younglings or whatever
Gone.
all dissipated.
Yeah.
Then yeah, Titus is going to definitely disengage from this situation.
And it can still get up on you, it's still going to come after you. But I'm just letting you
Sure.
know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, you do that. It zips at you, jumps up, but again misses. Maybe the knives in it are messing up its aerodynamics, but it does not hit you.
No, I have to hit it for him to hit me.
Yeah,
or
that's
it
true.
to hit
That's
me.
how it works. Only if-
this is a
Yeah.
slap fight, right?
Right, it is only a That's right. Okay, so it misses you as you have missed it in accordance with the prophecy, and that leads us to Dr. Jaraxis with Zerial on deck. All right,
All
Jaraxis,
right.
you are moving towards Titus and the creature.
One more sprite beam will do it, I reckon. And
Sprite B.
I will shoot out with my offhand just to make it look cool. And that's why I rolled a 1.
That's why you don't hit with your offhand. That's a big thumbs down from your chat.
Yeah, it goes wide, and as he often does, Jaraxis will say, don't worry, I will take it out in post. All right, here we go. And
What about moving?
I'm gonna move right up in front of this creature, and because I don't want Titus to get endangered, and because I want to look like a hero, Dr. Jaraxis can be like,
All right, terrifying monster, give me the best you got, huh? Let's go.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Can Dr. Winterfield shout something at Zuriel?
Yeah, you can shout something at Zerial, sure.
Zuriel, aim for the eye.
Okay,
Go for the eyes. Speaking of Zerial, are you going for the
I
eyes?
will aim for the eyes.
Okay, go ahead and make your roll as you leap out.
24.
That's definitely a hit
Nice.
for sure.
Okay, so with the death strike, it is 2d6, so roll. 8 points of damage.
Yep. You so in the Robin Hood style, it doesn't quite pierce the knife, but it's like knife, and then the middle one, and just goes flying back. And there is a moment where it sort of rolls on the ground a couple times, and then you see it look up at you. Big, cute eyes. And then
I'm looking for any. I'd like to catch one of those little bitty ones if I can.
Well, I will say that we are now out of combat. Those things have disappeared. You can certainly try to search for them. But the forest is silent now.
I'm gonna think of all sorts of uses for that.
The forest is silent, but you can, if you wish, try to search for them. They went, they just immediately scattered.
Can we take the specimens from the ones that we killed?
Sure.
All right.
And we have like analyzers on us, don't we?
You may have sort of portable ones that will give you sort of very limited information. But more than that would require. You could try to figure out more about these creatures if any of you wanted to do a xenobiology.
Yeah, so like I have the scientist pack, which includes a data library, personal computer, and a sample kit.
Okay. So I tell you what, I'll have you do the xenobiology check, and I'll give you advantage on this check, Dr. Winterfield, if you want to see. What are you trying? Well, with one caveat, though. A, I want to know what about it you're trying to determine, and B, how long do you want to take to do it? It's not going to take hours, but it will probably take like a good 15 minutes to get a sample analyzed and all.
Well, I'm just going to do a quick scan.
Okay.
And because they seem to have some kind of psychic abilities, they were able to affect both Titus and Dr. Winterfield. So I want to know, like, what are we dealing with on this planet?
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, let's have you do a xenobiology check. We'll do that at advantage. Rudin, I'll suggest making these into earmuffs. I'll let the party decide what you all think.
So my xenobiology is like a +3 bonus.
Okay.
My intelligence is 17.
Yep. That sounds
So,
right. Are you proficient in this? Does it say, are you proficient in xenobiology? Or not?
Let me check.
Is that checked off? Because if so...
No, it's just a +3.
Okay, so then just the +3. Okay. So 20 +3, but I'll give you advantage on it. So roll twice, take the higher result, please.
Okie dokie. 20.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
You want me to
That
roll
works.
again, or
Yeah.
can I keep that one for later?
Roll again, because you always want to clear the die roll, I say. But,
Okay.
you can feel good about that 20, though.
Yeah.
All right. 6.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing.
Let's stay with the 20.
Yeah.
Okay, as you go through, you discover a couple of things about these creatures. First of all, it is the case that these creatures, similar to pack creatures on other planets, usually try to take down their prey more or less by gathering around them and then just literally swarming them under. But you do know that from what you can tell, this is similar to certain creatures on other planets which have evolved to seem incredibly harmless until that moment that they attack you viciously. And one of those evolutionary traits that they've developed are a kind of pherorome. As you're doing your search, you find that it actually was not, in all likelihood, specifically psychic through its power that they were using, but a kind of pherorome which interacts with the brain of other creatures to cause them to basically view these creatures as not a threat, to make them docile, essentially. Not unlike a spider, putting sedative, like in stinging a creature to kind of cause it to, become drowsy and not move. This seems like that as well, although from what your analysis kit can tell, it's very advanced pheromones, so it might have had more advanced effects if it had worked. That's your impression. These also seem to be, from what you can tell, pack creatures that have like a pack mentality. So there's probably that swarm probably were their children, their tribe, their group, right? And so there may be more around of them. But having defeated this one, it's possible that you've driven them off for a good long while.
So I've got another question.
Yeah.
Is it possible for me to make like a mist out of the pheromones? So if we run into creatures, we can use it on them?
I think you can possibly start doing research on that. no way you can do the research with just your little mini portable stuff you have here. But you could take samples and think to do that later on if you reach a facility where that's possible to do more of it. So yes, long term, but short term it won't help you. But you could take the samples with you and maybe you could synthesize it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take the samples that I've found. Perhaps we can make a bionic weapon out of this for later. Or biologic weapon, not bionic.
Had this image of
Very good.
$6 million furry creature.
Jaraxxus is going to do two things. I will activate the Innervate protective shield that I have, which is like that false life. And since we're not short resting, I'm just going to do it once, and I have whatever I have. I'm not going to try to fetch the max.
Okay.
But then, okay, so I get 5 temporary hit points.
Okay.
As part of that invocation. And Jaraxxus is focusing his attention on the surrounding forest. Is it heading into like a nighttime right now?
You actually landed more or less at night. So it is fairly dark underneath here, but it's not, again, this is not an incredibly dense forest. It's not particularly dense.
Okay.
And
so Jaraxxus will he's going to comment something, but first he's going to make a perception check, kind of I don't know the name of any particular horror movie that has that kind of like looking through a camera into a dark forest kind of vibe.
Kind of Blair Witch Project style.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie, but that's what I was going to say.
I'm so scared.
Right. So I'm going to sort of Blair Witch and do a bit of live vlogging as I perceive through the forest to see if there's any other threats.
Outstanding. Also, welcome to Art Deco Horse. I love that name for the follow. Welcome. Okay. All right. So you're able to do that. Ziriel, what about you? And what about Titus? What are the two of you doing?
Should I make a perception check?
To roll a investigation check.
Okay.
Just so I can find the things.
Sure. Let's see what you can find.
10.
Yeah, so as you're kind of like feeling around, Ziriel, you don't know where these things went. You don't even hear them. However, I will say that a lot of the places, you were not 100% sure that you saw this because you were in the shadows and maybe you missed it, but it sure felt to you like these things kind of vanished into certain cracks also below you, which means that their bodies must have somehow squeezed through into those cracks. Like, in other words, it seems like they're smaller than what even the small little bodies would have permitted, but yeah, otherwise you find neither hide nor hair of them, as they say.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Titus, what about you?
Titus is going to spend his time trying to figure out the poison situation about him. So basically do some sort of like medical analysis or like self-analysis. He doesn't have anything that's gonna, like, I don't have Detoxify as a talent yet. So he's just looking to make sure that he's stabilizing himself until like either the poison runs its course or he's got to seek some sort of other attention.
Right. And actually, let me bring this back to Dr. Winterfield. I should have mentioned this. When you were doing your analysis of these creatures, I mentioned the kind of pheromones that they used to try to, pacify you. But there's also the other thing your analysis discovers is an exceedingly potent poison. And what you're able to see actually is that this looks like a cellular poison. That is part of the reason for the pain is that you're looking at this like in your little analyzer, it literally breaks down cells. So part of the reason that Titus was in so much pain is that it literally broke down cells around the site of the bite.
Could I make an antidote from the poison?
I was about to say, so yes, but you won't be able to do that until you get to a place where you're able to again synthesize it. But Dr. Winterfield, this antidote synthesis may happen much faster when you find that place than the pheromone thing. Like the pheromone thing is a sort of longer term project, you suspect, but the antidote, yes, you think you could produce it. Also, you might be able to synthesize this to make poisons. In fact, you believe other similar creatures on other planets have had their secretions used to make synthetic poisons, which can be pretty powerful. So yeah.
Um,
But having said that, Titus, at the moment, you don't see a lot of options unless someone's got something which can heal, particularly poison damage in the short term. You could certainly see that Dr. Winterfield's analyzing it. I mean, you could talk to her about it.
Right. So the question though is determining whether I'm in immediate danger or not. Am I continuing to lose? Like, am I
No.
continue to get worse, or the pain
No.
is not progressing
No,
in
it's
a
not
more
progressing.
dramatic way?
No, it's just that it is the pain is severe enough that it is going to continue to have this mechanical effect on you until it dissipates of the disadvantage, but it's not getting worse. No, you're not losing any hit points or anything like that. And actually, a Rudenel's description is a good one. It's kind of like a spider bite or a horsefly bite, which hurts like hell, but it's not like, and then you die from the horsefly bite. It just is really painful for a while.
Right. Okay, so Titus is going to walk over and look at the analyzer and look at the work that you're doing and say, anything in there about the poison?
Poison seems to break down cells. I won't be able to make an antidote until we get to a research lab. But rest easy, friend.
Yeah, there's no rest easy. This is quite painful. I don't know. There's nothing I can do either, and unless it's gonna run its course. I don't think it's gonna kill me.
It won't kill you.
Okay.
Are you able to walk?
I think so, but I've got an inflatable mattress if we need to put together a litter. Like, we should be able to use that, and you can drag me along if nothing else.
We need to find shelter. We need to find something. We're all out in the open.
I was just going to say,
and Greg, did we traveled about, was it several hours or was it like an hour to get out from here from the ship?
This is a couple of hours. You took about an hour to get to and then over the crystalline forest. So like, through it and then like down off of the little plateau. And then
Right.
Probably about another hour to get to and into the forest, I would say. So you're probably
Okay.
about 2 hours-ish from the ship,
Oh,
roughly
okay.
speaking.
And it's what time of night do we believe, and what level of tiredness are we feeling, if that's equivalent even?
I would say as far as the time of night, you're probably looking at like, I don't know, maybe, I mean, if you had to guess, you probably landed, it was clearly completely dark late at night, maybe close to
Oh.
midnight-ish, but you don't know
Oh,
exactly what the
wow,
cycle is
okay.
here. So,
So it's possibly 2 or 3 in the morning
it could be.
for this world.
That's right.
Are
it
we
could be.
feeling like that's what our body time is also telling us?
That
Like,
I
are
don't know.
we
I mean,
dying for a long rest.
well,
right now?
you have been in. I mean, it is true. You've been through a lot. Crashing ship, the crystalline thing. I mean, that is true. You don't necessarily feel exhausted yet, but
Okay.
it is true that you've been through a lot. I mean, I don't know how safe you feel this particular area is, but
Right.
in terms of resting, but
Okay, so the doctor will say,
well, allow me to do us the favor of recapping what we need.
I'd lower the camera, and I say,
We initially we've been sent out here to go find supplies and food for the other survivors back on the ship. That's why we left.
and I hold up one of these creatures' corpses by the legs, the one that you are not analyzing, and I say,
We have that now. And we could also hope that that creature that flew overhead is gone. So we could try to make the long walk back and sleep in the ship and see what remains, if anything, of our people, or we could just camp here and look at the wreckage in the morning.
Will this
So-
ship be too cold, though?
I don't think any colder than here. Oh, it is up in the mountain. That's right.
And it's wrecked.
Right.
And it has major hull damage. And it has holes in it.
And it was just attacked by a
Dragon.
Dragon.
I think
Maybe
we're better off not going backwards.
But tomorrow we will, right? We're not just going to leave them. Right?
Well, that's true.
I'm fine to camp here. It seems nice, other than the creepy gerbils.
The creepy gerbils. What? Those little things might come back.
No,
That's what I was thinking.
The small ones. We'll take watches or something.
We're in a
And what are
forest.
we-
Is there a cave or something?
I don't see one. It seems
They-
pretty flat here. I don't know.
Is there any kind of like echolocation technology that we could use to get a lay of the geography? By the way, Drew, this is coffee flavored boba. You're wondering if it was ice coffee? Nope, I have coffee flavored boba for every session. But yeah, is there any way we could do like some kind of echolocation thing or sonar or anything like that?
If you
Is
had a functional ship with a functional computer, possibly.
Nothing
but
in like our little personal computers or analyzers or anything.
I don't think so, unless you have something that specifically states that, but not any something.
Right.
You know, you have limited power as it is. Remember, you got here basically managing to avoid danger of trying to managing to avoid environmental effects because you had these devices. You may remember that you had all used with a certain number of amount of power left, and you used up much of that to get here. But you don't have a device unless, again, there's something on your sheets that says so, but I don't think so. There are certain talents that can provide that sort of ping or certain technologies, but it usually more than what you have access to at the moment, I'm afraid. Can always go the good old-fashioned way and, do that straight-up searching, little scouts work, checking out safe
Right.
places in the camp.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to start making us a little camp. I'm not good at this, so if anyone else knows how to do this better than me, then please help. And
I think
will
that's an
report
excellent
you.
idea, and I will assist in this.
Okay. So you're able to start doing that. There is just other than a slight rustling in the trees from wind and breeze, otherwise it's quite quiet. And you're probably able to set this up, I'd say, kind of a camp with a kind of I suppose a tarp or something over part of it or whatever to keep out stuff. And the trees above keep a lot of the worst of the rain and weather from falling. So it is slightly warmer. Probably you're able to do that, I would say, in about 15 minutes or so. And then you were able to settle down for, am I understanding the party correctly, a longer rest then? Is that right? Okay.
I suppose.
Okay.
I think we need it.
Is anyone is anyone going to go on watch or anything of that sort? Or how's that
Yes,
work?
we're definitely setting up watches.
Titus is going to say that he wants to go first, in large part so we can have the longest duration of rest
Okay.
to recover from whatever's going on for him. So
Okay.
So he'll go first in the rest in the watch order.
Okay.
I am uninjured, so I'm happy to go whenever people want me to.
All right. Who wants to go second then after Titus?
I'll go
Go
second.
Oh.
We can both go. The doctors can both go.
Yes,
Both
we
go
can
second,
go
thereby
second.
having no watch on third. Wait.
No, then because then Zuriel. can have
Zuriel
third.
would be third.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, I guess it depends on how many watches we have to have. 3.
3 is fine, I think. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So first up then on watch is Titus. Titus, about as you're sort of there looking moodily off into the darkened forest, feeling the burning of the bite on your side still. About, I would say, an hour and 15 minutes or so into your watch, roughly. I would like you to make a perception check for me, please.
I was just about to ask if that was like standard time or if that was local planetary time.
Yeah, I'm using sort of standard your referent of standard time.
Right,
Do not
alright.
yet know about this one.
Don't worry, I'm going to keep bringing that up later.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I appreciate that. I look forward to it.
All right, perception. 1 second.
Okay.
How about an 18?
So, there's a moment where you're just sort of sitting there and watching, and then in the very, very far distance, you hear what sounds like for want of a better term, a single laser pistol shot, which echoes and then dies away. This is very far in the distance. And it seems to be coming from very far like not behind you, somewhere in front of you. But again, when I say far in the distance, you can barely hear it. So it's got to be a very long distance, and it's only a single shot. And when it fades away, you almost are like straining to listen. If you've ever had this experience of hearing you're in a fairly quiet place, you hear one sound, and then the sound goes away, and you're constantly like, the memory of the sound almost is with you still. That's what it's like, Titus, as you're sitting there, and you do not hear it repeated after several more minutes.
Can I determine what direction it's being?
So you folks are traveling, roughly speaking, to the east and down, in that direction, down and east. But it does echo, which almost suggests that it may have come from outside of a forested area. But which would suggest maybe that there is an area not too far past this forest, which is not just forest, which is something else. But yeah, that's basically what you're able to tell.
Last question. No sort of like color any discoloration or any like additional sort of like weird source of light in that direction?
None. No,
Okay.
Just darkness. This is just something you heard. Yeah. Other than that,
All right.
everything is very quiet, and you're in pain, but otherwise very quiet. When your watch ends and you hand things over to Dr. Winterfield and Dr. Jaraxis, for the two of you, there is... Oh, first of all, I should say, do you tell them, Titus, about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Direction, sound, description, timing, everything.
Okay.
I give it all to them and they're like, and I'm out. And he just crashes.
So Dr. Winterfield and Dr. Jaraxis, I leave it up to you in terms of what you want to do with that, like if anything, because like during your watch, it's up to you. For the first 15, 20 minutes or so, you hear nothing and you can just continue to go on that way if you wish. I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to do or not with
Is
that
it
info.
possible the crew escaped? They couldn't have gotten so far ahead of us, could they?
I don't think so. I think this is evidence that maybe this planet is already inhabited, or the people who were chasing us also crashed. Huh?
That's
Huh?
true. I also have this strange feeling about the dragon. The legends about them on Earth said that they had lairs where they would keep treasures. And I've even wondered, was that dragon big enough to take the spaceship somewhere, and maybe
Oh,
the crew members
boy.
escaped from there? I don't know.
If that's true, though, we would have seen it fly back, right?
Would we?
Because-
We were preoccupied.
I suppose you're right.
And that shot was a while ago. But it does seem that there are other people here.
Right. I'm curious to see. I don't know. Now we have ample reason to head two opposite directions.
Yes, we do.
Further on or back to check on the ship. I know that the ship wasn't much in any condition to think about repairing it realistically, but those people are still back there, hopefully. I would like to know what happened to them.
Once Titus is all healed up, we'll have a very big decision to make.
Well, so far and quiet and everything. Have you ever, thought about monetizing your profession, Doctor?
Well, if this pheromone mist goes the way I think it does, I might try selling it. Get a patent.
Oh, the pheromone. Oh, that's right. These are new
Mhm.
discoveries. I'm curious to see how that works. But
It could be the new mace. We haven't had a new
maybe,
mace in
or well,
500 years.
this thing is, it almost seemed like it was charming us. So really, it might be a sort of love potion or something.
Love can be torturous, yes.
Right. Hmm. And probably just sit and watch for the remainder of the time.
Okay.
And I'm shocked that Dr. Jaraxis hasn't put on like a lo-fi playlist while we're sitting and
I didn't download
people are
anything.
just vibing and with
Nope.
us.
Once we get connection, yes, but not yet.
as you imagine in your mind what a lo-fi playlist would look like, when your watch is over, we will hand things over to Zerial then. And having, I assume, communicated to Zerial the same thing Titus communicated to you, I'm guessing.
Right.
So, Zerial, I don't know whether any of that is of interest to you either. Like if that changes how you do the watch or not.
No, although I'll keep an eye on things, and I'm still looking for one of those little gerbils. One might come out. If so, I'm gonna catch it.
Still looking. And I would say probably just a few hours before what you would assume would be kind of dawn. You can feel the forest is starting to lighten around you. Maybe an hour before dawn or so. There is a moment where you kind of you're looking and you see this little, what you think maybe you're like, you see some motion. You're like, oh, is that one of the things like coming out of it? And then you and the rest of the party are woken by a it sounds like something hissing and roaring far above the forest. And you hear this like this massive sound of what sounds like wings flapping. You look up and see nothing, and that sound echoes and then vanishes into the distance, and seems to have been going. You can't quite get the distance that it's heading from. Like it sounds almost like directly above you. The top of the cover, the forest cover, obviously the canopy helped you conceal you here. And then that sound disappears. And so there's a moment where you're all sort of looking around. It's a little bit of lighter time here in the forest. And that, I think, is a spot for us to take our break. You are watching Day 7 of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, everybody, sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment. I hope you are enjoying this campaign, which features not just science fiction, but fantasy characters. And if all goes well, I think we will be back to the fantasy characters next session, possibly coming close to connecting up with the sci-fi characters. We shall see. But if you enjoy what these folks are doing, please be so kind as to not only follow the channel and support the Patreon, but please cheer officially for them in channel using bits, because that will be stuff which will go directly to support our players. We will be back it's 9:45, so we'll be back here just about 5 minutes at 9:50, and chat will be back with you then as well. Hang tight. Okay, and we are back. Welcome, everybody. And as you can see, as you're about to see here, we are back, and I see again that something has happened where Johnny is not in the right. Can you work your magic, Johnny? There you go. Hey, magic. So we're back, crew, and welcome everybody to day 7. While we were gone, Hillness was kind enough to do another 1,000-bit cheer for the players. So thank you very much, Hillness. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Hillness.
Thank you. And
Thank you, Hillness.
as your reward, Hillness, you can have an incredibly awesome dog, represented by being held by Toya. How is awesome, cute dog doing, by the way, Toya?
Oh, well, her face is being blocked by the microphone.
There she
So I'm
is.
gonna move her back this way. There we go. She's doing very well. This is month 4 we're going into since we rescued her. She is an adult, but she's just over 1, so she still has a lot of puppy energy.
Mm-hmm.
Getting used to being on my lap. Doesn't always love it. Not letting her down because she'll get into stuff. So
That's really awesome. So yes, so see, chat, you get awesome role play and awesome dogs on here. All right, players. Well, we are here for another 35 minutes or so. So let us get into it. As you have woken up from, but been woken suddenly by this roar sound far in the distance. What would the party like to do? And it is now, by the way, dawn, so you can clearly see light has now filtered into the forest.
well,
Have we
we've
gotten
got a
full
big
rest?
decision to make. There seems to be someone, or at least someones, ahead of us. And we have the spaceship, if the dragon hasn't totally destroyed it, behind us. Yet, it appears the dragon returned for something. And I don't want it to find us either.
Or it never left. Did we get a full rest, Arv?
Yes, you have got. Oh yeah, and I should have mentioned that. I was too interested in the. Yes. So a couple things. First of all, Titus, you'll be happy to know that your poison has passed at the end of this long rest, so that's good. And then also, folks could have. So in this process, you with the long rest. Remember, you can only get one of these in a 24-hour period. So this is it now. But this means that you get your hit points back. And it also means that you will get, if you've used any, half of your hit dice. I don't know if any of you used your hit dice, though, during like a short rest or anything. I don't believe so, right? So I don't think that applies. So it's basically just that you got this back. You also, of course, get talent points back. So you do get those points back for use again. So that means that I think everyone's up to 17 for Titus, 15 for Jaraxxus. Those 5 temps stick during a long rest? Do they or no?
No, they go away.
Okay, so you're looking at 15. And Ziriel with 9 out of 9 still, and Dr. Winchfield is back up to 15 out of 15. So, but there you go.
Well, as I was saying to Dr. Winterfield last night, I think we owe it to the crew to at least see what happened, if any of them are still there. And we don't need to be, out in the open about it in case that creature's still around, but I think we should head back, at least to document what's happened to the ship and grab any remaining supplies.
That was a hard climb down. I'm not sure that's the right idea right now.
So we're just going to leave them? What if there are survivors? What if they need our help?
If that dragon got to them, there's nothing we can do anyways, and we would expose ourselves. I'm not wanting to abandon them, but I'm wanting to get a better sense of the land and what we do. Otherwise, I feel like we'll be putting ourselves in more danger and dying, possibly.
What do the other two of you think? Oh, we can't hear you, Ziria.
I don't want to run into that dragon. That's first and foremost one of my considerations. And so like the movements, the decisions that lead us away from the dragon, I'm pro. Decisions that lead us towards the dragon, I'm not so pro on.
I'm also concerned that the dragon seems to keep coming back to the same spot. It hasn't discovered us because of the tree cover. I also don't know how we're going to get back up to the spaceship.
The same way we came down. Though I am outvoted. I will turn my camera, my high-tech Esper camera to myself, and I'll say, let it be known, possible survivors of the shipwreck, the reason we didn't come back was not because of me. All right. All right, I'm good to go. Let's are we heading down towards that the sound of that pistol
All right,
thing?
your conscience is clear, so we can go. Okay.
I feel like I'm the only one with the conscience here.
You may be. I think it's a sort of inconvenient thing.
However,
myself.
if we're all dead, we can't help the crew.
Certainly, but being dead is not a guarantee. We're not dead so far, are we? But no, it's all right. Let's head down. Let's not go possibly save some lives or innocent people, or it's fine with me. Look, I cooked us up some space gerbil. It's I haven't tasted it yet. Anyone wants to do the honors?
Oh, you go
No.
first.
Speaking
Right.
of space gerbil, do we see any sign of the creepy gerbil space rodent come back at all? Do we see any other signs at all?
You do not.
I thought I saw one, and then it turned out to be the dragon going overhead.
I try the creature. If we can say that I've cooked it as I've said. One of them, of the two.
Yeah, very small on a little spit,
Right. Yeah, a leg.
Yeah. It's like
How's
a
it taste?
tiny little buffalo wing. And
Is it good?
yeah, it tastes like chicken.
It is delicious. It's wonderful.
Has a little
actually.
spicy kick,
Yeah, a bit of
The poison?
it might be the
Exactly.
poison. Hopefully,
His
I
mouth
burned.
degrades.
I burned it off. I burned it. I'm just kidding. I'm fine. Yes, try it. Well, great. I guess we continue on then. Once everyone's nice and fed.
All right. Assuming the party is okay, assuming mixed messages is okay with that, the party sets off, having taken down their little camp, and then move on. And it turns out that what you had heard, Titus, in the night turns out to be prophetic in at least this way, that it's not that long, maybe only another 15 or 20 minutes before you find yourself coming out of the cover of this forest. It turns out it was not very large, in fact, so you probably, if you had gone further, and you would have been out in the open again earlier. And when you come out, there's a moment where the air feels quite fresh and sparkling. And actually, as you look around in the light of the, pretty much the sun is just rising now. And so there's light just sort of coming down, and you can see this sparkling, glittering all around you on the leaves behind you and on the rocks around you. And you can see now that you are, in fact, below this mountain. As you know, the plateau that you came off of, the mountains rise up behind you. And in fact, the path you're on is now essentially a kind of a mountain path with the forest behind you. And there's also a trickling sound here, which is quickly explained because there is a stream next to you that seems to come out from the mountain side, actually, and is flowing past you. And the path rolls along right next to this stream, which gradually widens into a larger, more than a brook or a stream. Eventually, it even feels like a small river almost that you're walking along as you are continuing to make your way. And I should also mention that down the way, you can also see that there are several the mountain wall to your west as you continue to travel along it, but also that there are several areas where there are large outcroppings and boulders and stones where you can hear even your footsteps on what is now again a rocky path, now that you're out of the forest, kind of echo. So that shot that you heard, Titus, that echoed, clearly was coming from somewhere maybe in this area because of the echoing of it. And the river to your left is actually more than a river. You can see that it is part of this mountain fissure, essentially impassable, you think, to the west. And the pass continues this way for a good half hour or so, still descending slowly, until after about, let's say, an hour or so after you left the forest, maybe 45 minutes, I guess, after you left the forest, you suddenly hear again those laser shots, but a lot more of them now. You hear, pew, 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 firing, the sound of lasers firing and explosions. And now there are absolutely lights coming from where the pass ahead of you splits from the stream and sort of peels away and heads away further from the mountainside to the west. So mountains to the west, you're gradually heading east. This peels away further. And from that area, you can see flashing lights and hear explosions. And the explosions are getting louder fast.
You want to ping that on the map for us, just so we know where we are?
Yes, I can try to see if I can put that.
Interesting.
Do not have enough maps yet is the problem. Actually, no, that's true. I can't, can I? I suppose I can't. You're somewhere in here, chat. There are maps coming, by the way, that are more coming, but yeah.
I just wanted to see if you would actually do it. I was curious.
Very clever. Yeah. No, I do not have that for you, but they are coming quickly, these explosions.
Draxus,
Is there any place for us to take cover?
Well, there are. I mean, you could try to slide down a little bit. So there's the fissure that I mentioned. You could try to sort of pull yourself behind rocks and boulders by the edge of this thing, because there are a lot of those little rocks and boulders even on your side. You could try to do that. Presumably, you might be able to hide behind those. You think? Yes. They're not very tall, but they're tall enough to conceal you if you crouch down.
Because what I'd like for the team to do is to take cover for a moment and see if we can figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay.
Jaraxus looks to see if is there a way to get a high ground to possibly look over what's going on?
Only if you went back up the path, and then you would be like, it doesn't go up fast enough, high enough. The only high ground here is across the river, across the fissure. And like I said, that seems practically impassable.
Right. So either we can continue on into whatever this mess is, and
you're higher up, I should say, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, you are higher up already, technically, because the path continues to slope down slightly.
So this is what we heard last night, and it appears that the dragon isn't interested in all this commotion.
Yes.
Is there a way for us to... Are we still sort of flanked by forest? Or
not flanked. It's behind you a good 20, 25 minutes now.
Oh, all right. So, yeah.
All right. Yes, Dr. Winterfield, maybe we should just stop and listen for a minute before we get closer.
I'm small enough. I'm gonna head forward and take it cautiously. See if I can get some eyes on this situation.
Here. And Dr. Jaraxus will place a hand on you, and when I do, the Dr. Jaraxus's hand kind of glows with the light blue energy of his recording Esper rig. And I picked as one of my complex patterns or invocations shared vision, which means I can touch a creature and perceive through their senses as long as I continue to concentrate on shared vision. So essentially, I'm like scrying through you.
Hey, I got that one too.
Oh, nice. Nice. And so, when I put this hand on you, a little like digital hologram of a camera appears over your shoulder. So it's not real, but it represents me looking through you.
Okay.
Okay. So having done that, Titus, did that change anything about how you're doing or no?
No, I'm gonna basically I'm gonna use stealth, and I'm gonna sneak my way forward, making myself really as small as I possibly can. I mean, I'm under 2 feet tall, as a creature, so I'm in the middle of the sort of small, like, humanoid side of things, but I'm just gonna snake my way forward, trying to find a way to kind of get a vantage point behind, if I have to stand behind like a boulder or if I have to look over a cliff, but I'm just being really tiny about it and just kind of move as quickly but as quietly as possible.
Okay. All right. You're able to do that, and in fact, as you're doing it, you find that the situation is coming to you, as it were, because after only another minute, as you're kind of sneaking behind these boulders and everyone is, waiting, you hear what the result of all this is. The first thing you see, and not long after you see it, the rest of the party sees it, is a gray-robed man, looks like a human, if you had to guess, is running towards you. His face is as pale as his long white beard, and his clothing is soiled and scorched. And in fact, I have a picture of this person.
Oh.
And I'm going to show it on stream in just a moment. Okay, there we go. And you'll be able to see him coming up right now. So you see him rushing towards you. And as he sort of comes up the hill, you can see what he's running from, because a laser blast narrowly misses him. From behind, a pair of 10-foot-tall walking mechanical war machines are firing laser blasts. Pew, 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 pew. Imagine being chased by an AT-AT, to jump out of game for a second. Although these are more robotic, more transformer-like than AT-ATs. The human is moving forward, and Titus, as you're sort of watching, there's a moment where he stops, or almost stops, and then kind of looks. And he basically, now I want to know if did you make yourself visible or not visible at this moment? Or have any of you stood up when you see the man or not? Or are you all staying behind cover?
I'm staying behind cover.
Okay,
Ditto.
Titus?
I have a question as we're talking about this.
Okay.
Does he look injured in the
Yes.
sense of, is he bleeding?
Yes.
Then immediately Titus is going to stand up and cast, or he's going to use an ability. He's going to use Mend on him immediately.
Okay, so when you do that and you cast Mend, and he kind of, because he was sort of looking off in that direction anyway, he looks at you and he says, he changes to one of shock when he sees you, and he says, You shouldn't be here. Run, you fool. And the laser blast, barely misses him. Let me show you also a picture on stream of what he's running from.
Oh my god.
This sounds fun.
And I want to note something important about these two. I put it
Dear
on stream,
God.
so now you can see them. Pew, 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 pew. Again, enormous creatures.
Fly.
Yeah, fly, you fools. Basically,
Wow.
Gandalf's it up. And I want to point out, though, although these things, now they look, as you can see,
Jeez.
incredibly tall and impressive, and they look, quite deadly, I think it's fair to say. But I do want to point out something about them which is significant, which is that you can see that they, too, look to have been damaged, substantially damaged, actually. There are a number of pieces of these things which are sort of an arm is kind of, one of its arms seems to be, one of the arms of one of them seems to be loose. Another one of its guns seems to be not functioning perfectly. They are still impressive, but you can tell that they have absolutely been damaged, and there is nothing else around. So either someone else is invisible, or this guy is the one doing the damaging. And as he sort of yelled this thing about fly, you fools, and you cast Mend on him, Titus, he turns around and you can see his hair and his robe glows in a kind of blue mystic light. And that's a good time for us to roll initiative.
Nice.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay.
So given the type of work that we're all in, and the fact that we're basically freelancers or mercs or whatever, however you want to think about it,
Yep.
do we recognize any sort of logo affiliation on them at all? Any type of color scheme that seems to implicate them as being a part of or owned by, et cetera, et cetera? And also, are these things sentient, or are they?
So, I would say, that you don't know. First of all, you don't know if these are robotic, complete intact robotic-like creatures, or if they are some powered suits of armor, like some kind of mechs. You don't know. You have never seen any creatures exactly like this, but you have certainly seen the stuff that they're using. They clearly both have autocannons. You've all experienced autocannons before. You've definitely seen the laser that they're using. And to be clear, this is not something you would normally expect to see on a planet where you just saw a dragon fly overhead. Like, these things look very much like a modern technology, stuff that you would have encountered in the past. But you do not see any obvious logo or anything like that. Hold on a second. Sorry.
I'm just curious as a player if this guy ends up being a good guy or a bad guy. For all we know, he was trying to break into a peaceful place.
I've got a noob question.
Okay.
Am I supposed to be adding any? I see there's additions to the rolls here. Am I supposed to be adding anything?
Your dex.
So whatever
Your
your
dex.
dexterity is, if you have a plus because of your dexterity, what's your dexterity?
11.
Okay, so you don't have a plus, but
So
you
I
don't
just
have
roll-
a minus either.
So I just rolled
So
20,
it's a straight one, yeah.
and I'll go last again,
Yikes!
just because.
In our last campaign, my character had a dexterity of 6 to begin with, and that led to all sorts of fun.
I can
wow.
imagine.
Rolling a -2.
I miss
initiative.
Petra. I miss Petra a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep, it was good times. Okay. So, let's see what we got for. Okay. Adding in the guy. I do need to add in the guy. Okay. That's that. Okay, and these creatures with a. I should say and also I should mention about these. One other note about these creatures quickly is that they are huge, obviously, but they're not ponderous. They are kind of like, but they're not like, I am a colossus that takes 35 minutes to move. So be that as it may, they definitely do also have what look like almost little mini jets on their legs. It seems like stuff that may help them to maneuver, but you've only seen them for a few seconds, so you won't be able to tell too much more than that until you're actually in combat.
Dr. Winterfield has a question for Ziriel.
Okay.
Ziriel,
Okay.
can you hack into those things?
Maybe? I'll think about it. Yeah.
Okay, Jaraxxus with an 8. Let's see, Dr. Winterfield with a 4. Let's see, Ziriel with a 16. And is that a 20, Johnny? Okay. All right, Titus with a 20. Decided to move off the 22 for a change, huh? Decided the time had come. Okay. Let's see. So. Right. Okay, good. All right. Okay. First to act in all of this is going to be the Strange Man. And thank you for the 5-person cheer. There's a new disease going around causing people to forget the music of the 80s. No one knows the cure. Well done, Shadowed. Well done. Thank you for the cheer and for the improved situation with our pun life. Thank you. Okay, so the first one is to act is the man. And he is going to turn around, and as he turns around, you can see him lift his hand and shout something strange, and a series of blue bolts streak from his hands towards these creatures. And impact, and you can feel the force as each one of these things hits. And let me just see what he does on damage there. Okay. And so you can see that the one that he hits, like, kind of like falls back multiple times. And it does not look like it's going to fall over yet, but definitely did more damage, and is sparking blue where it hit. Titus, this is going to bring us to you. Very appropriate, since you did the whole mend business to begin with. So yeah, what are you going to do? You can see him, you can see the creatures, and what do you want to do?
Titus is going to heal him, basically. And if I recall correctly, I can't use mend because I believe mend requires touch. So I'm going to use the other talent that I have, which I believe is field salve.
Okay.
Let me go
I
ahead
was
and
going
pull
to
that
say,
up.
remind me about field salve.
Yeah, it's basically you can heal up to 3 people, basically.
Okay.
Give me 1 second as I pull it back up. I got down another. Oh, nope.
Thank you,
And
Prince.
field-
Also, hi, Prince Justin, and thank you as well for the cheer. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So another 9 bits added to the mix. Go ahead, Johnny.
So I can heal up to 3. Essentially 3 with a 1d4, plus my forging ability. Does that mean that I can use all 3 for healing on him?
Let me check and see how it reads. Thank you
Because the way
also,
it reads
Emily,
is
for the
you send
500
microdrones.
cheer. Thank you, Emily. Go ahead.
You send microdrones to administer healing to your allies. The creatures of your choice that you can see within a range gain hit points equal to 1d4 plus your modifier. This ability has no effect on constructs or automations. I can do it up to 3 creatures.
Up to 3 creatures.
So can I use 3d4 plus my modifier?
3 creatures of your choice. I don't think... Seems odd. You know what? This is a little odd to me. I'll allow you to do it on the 3. I don't know whether that's right, because it feels like it was intended to be different ones and only a microdrone. But like maybe microdrone abilities don't stack or something. But I'll give it to you for now. I will have to ask Rich. I honestly don't know. So let's say
the wording is odd.
Yeah. So let's say 3d4 plus your forging modifier, and I guess it would be 1d4 plus your forging modifier 3 times. Actually, is the way this should be, if I'm right.
So the alternative would be, how close is this guy to me? Like, what's the range on him?
30, 40 feet.
Could I basically dash up to him and then hit him with a mend, and that way
You could. Yes, you could. You will put yourself right next to him facing down these creatures, but you could do that.
Titus is going to get a little brave and stupid, and is going to go and do it.
Okay.
And he's going to run up and slap him on the back with 1d8 plus the forging ability.
All right, let's do it. Let's see what it has. 3 microdrones swarming one person would be awkward if they're doing stimulants to heal. Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird to me. I'll have to check.
Yeah, the wording is odd, and it's not. I mean, so.
Okay, so you do total of 6 then.
Yep.
And so you do that, and he kind of, his eyes wide, and he's like, "What are you doing? You'll be killed!" As he's standing right above you.
And Titus can't do anything else because he dashed, and then like
Sort of
and he's
shrugs
just pulling his blaster, not saying anything at this point.
Got it.
After he's done that. So
Okay, let me head down to Zerial next. Zerial, what would you like to do? Sorry, I don't know if you're muted or not. You may not have said anything yet.
I am.
Okay.
So, is there any way that I can connect to these huge mechanical creatures, given my hacking skills?
You could try to make an attempt. It will partly depend on whether these are robotic, like robots, androids of some kind, or if they're suits. You don't
Then
know.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. How do you want to interface though? Because you probably, I don't know that you could like wirelessly hack them unless there's something I'm not thinking about that you could do. Like, like what's the interface with them? Unless you're gonna like I can imagine an epic moment where you like run up and like swing onto one of them. You know what I mean? That's possible.
Sure. Let's try that and see what happens.
Okay. I will then, in that case, so as you see Zerial leap out and just like charge but lithely, like dramatically,
Very dramatically
towards these things, and then leap up. Now, do you want to aim for the one, because you saw the thing being hit by the bolts? Do you want to aim for the one that was hit by the bolts or the one that was not, Zerial?
I want to aim for the one that was hit by the bolts, because my theory is that there may be exposed circuitry.
Like wiring. Okay. Let me have you make, please, an acrobatics check for me. Let's see if you can get onto this thing. The creatures, by the way, not that they have facial expressions, but they certainly kind of like they seem like not sure what the hell you're doing.
And I get +3 if I'm proficient beyond the dexterity bonus, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. Oops. 23.
Yeah. So it actually, it sort of clumsily swings at you a little bit, and you just like awesomely dodge out of the way, swing up onto the arm and behind it. Okay. So now you find yourself up behind this thing, and as you're on sort of on the back of it, you indeed can see that there are what look like plates, and this is all happening very quickly, so it hasn't a chance to try to throw you off yet, but clearly you get the impression it might try to do that. So the question is, you leaped up, and I will allow you now to try to figure out how you want to get into it. Now, how you want to get into it's going to affect whether this works. So there are metal plates that you can see on the back of this thing, but as was your theory that you hoped for, there is exposed wiring that you can see. What do you want to do with that? Like, I mean, do you want to try to short the thing out? Do you want to try to, or what? Like, what you tell me.
I'm gonna try to short the thing out if that seems possible. I mean, what I'd love to do is get control of the suit, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that through the exposed wiring.
Okay.
So yeah, just being able to stop it dead would be what I would shoot for.
Okay, so if we're gonna do that, then I would say this looks to me like, I don't know that this is a computer's check then. I think this is mechanics. I think you're trying to basically short it in a more hardwire sort of way. So I'm thinking this is more mechanics driven to me, is what I'm thinking.
You sure you don't think it's sleight of hand?
No. Unless you're trying to pickpocket the wires.
You sure it's not astrophysics? Wait.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it would be.
10.
So you start doing it. The problem is that the sparking is still going on. So you're like trying to grab it, avoid it. You get the feeling though that it might be something which could function, although at the moment you're probably going to have to roll next turn to stay on its back because it's starting to reach behind it type of thing. One other note though, I would like you to make a perception check for me while you're on this one. You get for free while you're in the back of this thing.
Okay. Seven.
Okay, yeah, it's something feels off about this creature, and you can't tell what it is exactly. Something is out of sync almost between its body motions and the way that it seems to feel under your body. Like the nature of the creature doesn't seem to quite fit the motions that it's making, but you can't really get anything more firm than that at the moment. Jaraxxus, you were up. What would you like to do?
Well, before Jaraxxus does anything, Dr. Winterfield yells at him, "Can you see anything through Titus's eyes about this creature?"
Can I see anything through Titus's eyes about this creature?
Probably not any more than you can now see yourself because they came up so fast. It's Titus is a little closer, but nothing in particular that's because they were clearly like running after this guy who was running.
So how close are these creatures to us?
For you, probably 50, 60 feet. And obviously they're only about
Oh.
10 feet now from Titus or so and the man.
Oh, so you're saying that Titus is only 10 feet and we're 50 or 60 feet away?
Right.
Oh yeah, I would imagine he'd be able to see more.
You can see
from
a little
10
bit
feet than
more.
we can see.
You could
Yeah.
probably see a little bit more. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Well, first of all, is there just one of these big constructs, or are there multiple?
There's two.
There's two.
Two of them.
Do they both look, aside from any damage that may have been done just recently, do they both look about
About
the
the
same
same.
amount?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Well, here's the thing: is like if I'm still looking through the, looking through Titus's eyes and maintaining that's an action.
Mhm.
So I think Jaraxxus's inclination, even when you say that, Dr. Winterfield, is the hologram disappears from Titus's shoulder, and Dr. Jaraxxus is like,
I don't know. Just shoot it.
and I'm going to do exactly what I just said. So I will, and Ziriel is on the back of one of these, right?
That's right. The more
Okay.
damaged one.
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a rank 1 talent, and I'm going to cast Symbiont Mark, or Symbiote. There's an N in there. Symbiont Mark, which is effectively a hex that I can do within 90 feet. And that's as a bonus action. So I'll spend the slot for that. And then because the Sprite Beam or Eldritch Blast is just a prime talent or cantrip, I should be able to then use my action to now try to Sprite Beam one of them, I think.
Yeah, because you got the bonus action, right? So it's essentially Hunter's Mark. So you bonus
Right.
action that. Keep in mind it's concentration. That's fine.
Right.
Just keep in mind that it's concentration.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. And I'm going to aim the Sprite Beam at the one that Ziriel is not on.
So not the one you did not mark. You mean?
I meant to mark the same one as that as well.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay. So you marked
yeah.
the one that she's not on, and right.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
not doing anything to the one that she's on.
Outstanding. Fire away.
letting her handle it. Okay, here we go. I suppose a 12 doesn't hit.
No, a 12 will not hit. I'm afraid.
All right. Yeah.
It, or to put another way, it does, but bounces off. So
Cool.
And one of the things you notice that the creatures continue to focus their attention on mostly the one is focusing its attention on Ziriel, which is on its back, and the other one is focusing on the man still for some reason. Also, quick programming note, Zach. I know you have to bail here shortly, very soon, quickly.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, I'm probably. Yeah, I would have to probably leave the Zoom in 10 minutes at the latest.
Okay, that sounds good. So we'll see if we can get one more round in and then see how that goes. They go next. And so these creatures are going to fire away. The first one, Ziriel, is going to do everything it can to get you off its back. So what I need from you is to make a dexterity saving throw as it basically twists its torso rapidly in an attempt to get you off like a dog shaking off something. You're like, no, God damn it. You hold on to this thing, and it does, and you all see Ziriel literally sort of legs lifting up at one point, like holding on for dear life. But the good news is that means it kind of is wasting its time trying to get Ziriel off, so it does not attack. The other one does, and is going to fire at the man, and it is going to attack with, let's see. Going to attack, I think, with its autocannon. So you hear the familiar spinning up whine of this, thing. And it's going to fire away. The first one is a miss. It gets 2 attacks with this thing. A second one is a miss also. Maybe it's distracted by the thing whipping around trying to get these other things. So 2 misses, and the man barely avoids being struck by them. Otherwise, they're not going to move anywhere because they are trying to deal with their target. Dr. Winterfield, you are up next.
I'm going to attempt to hit the one that Ziriel is not on with Psyblast.
Okay, let's make it happen. Your symbiote mark, Jaraxxus, only works with you when you hit, right? Not when
I
anybody
believe
else
so.
hits. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. That sounds like a good plan. The Psyblast is a ranged attack, I think. Channeling attack. Is that right?
Yeah, it's up to 100
Okay.
feet.
So go ahead then and make your attack with it. channeling attack for you should be again using your charisma modifier, I believe. So
And my charisma modifier is
I think we said 3, right?
my charisma is 16.
Yeah, so 3. So so that means that you are going to be doing attack is your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. So you should have a 2, I think, so you should have 5. So d20 plus 5 would be that attack.
Heh.
Well, no, not so much. You're like, this is going to, you fire. You accidentally kill the dragon, which is just floating overhead. And, randomly. No. Unfortunately, no luck there. Are you going to move anywhere, Dr. Winterfield, or not?
I'm going to. Are there boulders up higher that I can take cover behind?
Not really up higher. There are other boulders you could take cover behind that are about as good as this one, but up higher is back up the path, and they're not that much bigger. You'd have to go across that river to get to the real boulders, and that's, like I said, pretty much impassable, you think.
Okay, so I'm going to stay here undercover.
Okay. All right, brings us up to the top of the second round. He, again, is sort of like, he says, I appreciate the help, but this is not your fight. And then he fires off these pew, 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 missiles again. These blue bolts of force go flying up. These ones actually go up towards the one that you're on, Ziriel, but you notice that he clearly, aims it to miss you, like you can tell. And let's see. Okay. And they just like, like you can feel these things like slam into this creature. They're hitting with great force into this thing. And so that you can see it sort of stagger back. And that may have an effect when you get to your attack. We'll deal with that. Titus, you are up next. He's not going to move. He's going to stay close to you. In fact, Titus, if anything, you see he sort of tries to stand in front of you a little bit.
That's fantastic. Because from between, him standing there, I'm small enough. From between his legs, I'm going to laser blast the one that he last hit.
Okay. I can't wait to see it. Let's make it happen.
All right. Let's see. All right, let's do this. How does a 21 do?
Absolutely a hit.
All right.
Those are off the chart
Yep.
because you have the
damage.
inflatable bed.
That's right.
And with a 12.
Wow, very nice. So you bang, so you can feel this thing sort of stagger back. From your position, Ziriel, you can now smell what is very clearly the smell of burning wires and even smoke from the inside this thing. So this thing is getting messed up for sure. And so there's this moment where you do this, and then the man sort of looks down and like to see the laser pistol, and is kind of like looks back at you for a moment, just like lifts an eyebrow and then shakes his head. Titus, are you moving anywhere?
Titus is sticking to his position. I also have something to acknowledge about this particular attack.
Okay, what's that?
The wording is a little funky, but I think I understand it. In addition, the next attack roll made against this target
Okay.
before the end of my next turn
Okay.
has advantage.
Ooh, nice. Okay, outstanding. That's good
So-
because guess who's up next is Ziriel. Although Ziriel may not want to attack, I don't know. Okay, we will keep that in mind. Ziriel, what would you like to do? You felt yourself thrown back multiple times by the hits on this thing. Sorry, I muted Cat.
I'm going to keep trying to sabotage this thing.
Okay. Let me have you do that, what did I say, mechanics roll?
Mechanics.
I'm going to give you a +2 to this time, though, because you've had a chance to now, like, assess it a little more. So I'm going to
Okay.
give you a +2 on this mechanics.
15?
Yeah. So when you put these two wires together, there's this bzz, 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 And Zero, you have a choice. You're gonna have to make the choice fairly quickly. You can see like it kind of jerks, like the creature's arms sort of jerk as you do this. You think that you can probably cross wire it with one more wire down there, and you will probably at that point either shut it down or blow it up or do something to disable it. However, doing that means that you may very well be at risk when you do it. In other words, you may have done something to it already. If you do this, you think you might bring it down, but you don't know at what cost yourself. You're not sure.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So you pull the last wire then on top, and there's this, and then the whole frame of this thing sparks blue, and energy flows up its frame. And the thing essentially freezes in place. Unfortunately, you were on the back of this thing as the energy is flowing up it. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
I got a second character. It's all good, Arudnell says.
7. I'm rooting all you. Cursed
Damn
me.
it. Okay. So here is what happens as a consequence of that. You are going to take 7 points of lightning damage as this thing, right? And then it falls forward. I now need you to make a dexterity saving throw to get off this thing so you don't land on the ground with it.
$18.
Yeah. So you sort of do the awesome. Well, you tell me, how do you awesomely land off of this thing?
I just somersault off and just kind of
Nice.
fluke.
Captain America on the end of it.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
do that. The creature is not moving. Moreover, you hear a kind of like a popping sound, and as you look behind you, you see that the top of the head of this creature seems to, at first you think it's popped off, and then you see it's not actually that. It is a helmet, and inside
Ooh.
there is a face of a clearly dead humanoid, probably human if you had to guess, inside this thing. Apparently, this is armor, not a robot.
All righty. Well, this one's down at least.
Indeed. Jaraxxus, your turn. We've got 2 more, and then we'll wrap up here. What do you want to do, Jaraxxus?
Jaraxxus has pretty much the same reaction that I just did. It's like, there's a human in there. All the same, I'm going to shoot at the one that's still up, which happens to be the one that
you marked, yep.
That I marked, okay.
Yep.
Here we go. Nope. 9.
Nope, sadly not.
I'm too shocked.
It does. You're just like, how could it be a human? A quick selfie moment. How could that be a human? And then like,
yes.
Okay, Jaraxxus, do you want to move anywhere, or are you staying where you are?
How far away is it from me right now?
Probably still a good, I would say, 40, 50 feet, because I assume you were hitting it at range.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Jaraxxus is going to move 30 feet away back.
Okay.
And
you don't have that far to move back because the fissure's behind you, actually. So, because you're right at the bank of where the river leads in the fissure, and you've got boulders in front of you. So you don't have far back to move, honestly, unless you want to move up the path, but that's kind of to the side, not directly behind you.
I wouldn't be able to see them anymore if I went up the path 30 feet.
You might be able to, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I'll go back up the path 30 feet.
Okay.
And Jaraxxus will kind of crouch and zoom in with the camera to capture everything.
Okay.
And then Zach will peace out for the moment. So I can leave my zoom on, but I'll cover my camera.
Okay.
But yeah.
So
I got to get going. Good luck, y'all.
Yeah, nice seeing you, Zach.
See you, Zach.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll
See you
start
later,
Zach
Zach.
soon. Okay. So as this does this, and this is good timing because we're just about finished here with this combat for the moment. He does that, and the creature, the other armored creature, sort of looks down at you, Ziriel, and for a moment you expect that it's going to try to do something. Instead, you hear this clicking sound and a clanking, like a, and literally you see wings exit its back and emerge and grow and stretch. It seems to jump up into the air. Its legs fall into the sort of are pulled back into its body. Its head elongates slightly. I mean, not so much that it would stretch the neck of the creature inside it, but the metal of it, so that you are now looking at a flying creature. And this flying creature that has changed into this way does not fire. It used its action to fly, but it now is above you, and you can sort of see this red laser light on its head kind of glowing and having highlighted apparently you for the moment, Ziriel. Dr. Winterfield, what would you like to do?
Let's try Psyblast again.
Okay.
So this is going to be with a +5 on it.
Yep.
18.
Hey, that's 23 with a hit. That will definitely hit for sure. So let's see what the damage, etc. does. And that's you, actually. You need to tell me what the damage is that it does on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me find it here. So it is on a hit, the target takes 1d10 psychic damage.
Okay.
The target also loses any benefit from cover against your next attack roll against it.
Right. Okay. Cover probably won't be an issue because it's floating up in the air now, but either way,
Right.
that Psyblast will definitely work. Since it turns out that it is it's an actual, there's a person inside there.
Yep.
So go ahead and roll 1d10 for me, please.
Yeah.
It's monsters and mecha. Yep. Very much.
6.
Okay. 6 damage is struck. So we are at 62. The creature flies around above you. And as it sort of circles, you can hear this strange metallic voice coming from within it. And it says the equivalent of, I hope I have the right patch up, "Stand down. Stand down." And the man on the ground, who is sort of standing looking up, says, "Stand down. No, you'll come down when we destroy you, beast." And that moment in the midst of combat is going to be where we will put a pause on today's session. But we will begin with this combat next session, and I will say that if we get through it and if the party survives, the next step after, the next step after will be the fantasy characters. So if all goes
Right.
well, we will be switching back to fantasy characters for a smaller, not a huge period of time before we connect up the groups as they happen. So good stuff today, folks. This was enjoyable. I am very excited to see what happens as we are moving along with this thing. And I loved some of the visuals, very cool action sequences that we had from the players tonight. Well, I don't need to ask Zach how he's doing because Zach is off to his next thing, but we will have Zach back with us next time. You should be following Zach. He is on Twitter at MiddayClay. He's on Twitch at Zach Clay. He is a member of the Our Vocalists in good standing. He's a member of this crew, of course, in good standing. And there's going to be a couple of announcements that Zach and I have about some stuff he's going to be participating in later on this year that you will not want to miss when they make them. So good stuff from Zach tonight and Dr. Jaraxis. I was cracking up at the idea of the being hit with a bunch of thumbs up likes. It was great. Moving right along to Kat. Kat, good stuff from Ziriel as well. We got a chance to actually see some combat specialist stuff today, both the shadow stuff with the attacks from the shadows and sneak attack with Deft Strike and dealing with the fray creatures. I love the idea that everyone's like, oh, they're so, you're just like knife, like just hitting this thing with knives, kill it till it's dead. That was very funny. And also the moment with this construct, because I think you had, I mean, yes, it's the rule of cool, but it makes sense here that just standing and firing away at a 10-foot tall armored thing seems not as sensible if you can't change the odds a little bit. And so here you had a chance to maybe do some of that and use your knowledge and ability, and you're still barely alive.
Still
so that's
barely
good.
alive.
How did you
yes.
feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks see you
Aside
next?
from that barely alive part.
Yeah. How else do you feel besides that?
I thought it was a ton of fun as always. I do really enjoy this game, and it's fun to play the Esper Genesis side as well as the D&D side. Where will the fine folks find me? Actually, I will be at TBR Con tomorrow. It's a thing that Tor is doing, so it'll be online. I'll be around at noon
Oh, cool.
for a panel on Hope Punk. So that should be an interesting panel. And otherwise, you'll find me on Twitter. And I just revamped my Patreon, all sorts of good stuff there. So you should check it out.
Good stuff. Thank you, Kat.
Voila.
Pleasure to see you, and I'm excited to have you back in the fold as we continue. Moving right on up the line, Toya, also some really good stuff today from Dr. Winterfield. Actually, that analysis you did of those creatures was, I think, helpful, both in terms of like, you might be able to synthesize something valuable out of them, either the pheromones or maybe the poison or something like that. But that felt very Winterfieldian, if that's a thing, to be interested in stuff like that. And that, honestly, your symbiotic, whatever it was called, recoil, was really useful because there is the danger of getting overwhelmed, right? Like that's their strategy, is to overwhelm in a fight. So the fact that you kept driving him away, even though they turned and ran back, it meant that between that and the rations work everyone was doing, which you started, it meant that slowed down the attack until you were able to defeat one of the adults and basically demoralize the kids, essentially. So that was interesting. And then now you've got this to deal with, which is these two creatures that are apparently humans with powered armor firing at a guy who's using some kind of weird mystic bolt, which does not feel like it's technology based or something. So things to learn for Dr. Winterfield, I suppose. How did you feel about today's session? What were the
Oh
fine
yes,
folks find for next?
zombie humans in suits.
Who knows? Maybe, or just regular.
Yes, yes, the synaptic recoil did come in quite
Synaptic,
handy.
sorry.
Yep. I am very glad I only had 2 rolls that sucked this time. Usually I have many rolls that suck.
Only 2.
That was nice. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I am very glad everybody's still alive. Zerial might be in a precarious position, but this group has been in ridiculously stupid situations before and come out alive. So I am very intrigued to see what will happen next. I not really around the interwebs very much, but I had a book come out at the beginning of this year called Branching Story, Unlocked Dialogue, Designing and Writing Visual Novels. So if you're, writing and designing a visual novel, or you just are interested in branching narratives in video games in general, check it out.
Very awesome. I can also say, I think it's official that I'm allowed to mention this, that Toya is also working with the Gen Con Writers Symposium. Toya is actually the game narrative lead for the Writers Symposium, and so is handling getting people on that track. And as I have mentioned many times, I wanted Toya to be in this game partly because I've been on many panels with Toya over the years, and I'm always impressed with her knowledge and her wisdom about things relating to narrative, especially in game design and stuff. So you will get a chance to benefit from that wisdom writ large at the symposium, not just through panels, but also through the people that she brings in. So I wanted to mention that. It's good to be working with Toya, and good to have her on this session, on this game, and we will see her again down the line. Thank you, Toya. Also, give an extra pet to the awesome dog for me. So that's Toya. Last but certainly not least, Johnny, great stuff as well today from Titus. I was really enjoying the idea of Titus trying to stand and defend and do things for this man that you're trying to rescue here, but also the image of something was just really, I was just having this visual image constantly of the slap fight we were talking about, with just this small little furry creature with knives in its face just jumping at you as you're firing at it in both directions. And the only time, as you said, that it hits you is when you hit it first. That was very funny. But also, it was interesting to see the discussion that you folks had about whether to go back to the ship or not. And Titus's idea there being like, if the dragon's there, they are already dead, and we need to figure out how to help. There was a lot of threading the needle going on there in terms of morally how Titus wanted to handle it. And obviously the three of you agreed overruling Dr. Draxus in that case. But so I thought that was interesting, but also just the couple of the combat sequences I think were most interesting for Titus in particular. How'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Titus is of nothing, not a real, or if nothing, not a real. I don't know how I'm just going to say this. He's a realist. For the plain and simple, he's a realist,
right?
And the character is like 200 years old. In game, to be level 1 or level 2 and being 200 years old, he's had quite a bit of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So he would know in a combat situation the likelihood that these creatures, in an unknown situation, we left them, behind. We're trying to figure this out. We saw something going back for them. The dragon situation seems really scary for Titus in that particular perspective. That contrasted with the comedy of the two fight sequences. You've got the one fight with a slap, and you've got these mechs that are coming at this wizard essentially. We've got, somebody pointed out they're like Ed 209s. So you've got Gandalf versus Ed 209s, and then you've got this little like rat creature kind of firing, out from behind, like, or under, between his legs or whatever. These kinds of things contrasting is perfect sci-fi in a lot of ways, right?
Yep.
It's the balancing of the good and the bad, and the funny and the serious all at once. So today was really fun. I loved everything that everybody did, and I'm beginning to appreciate Zach's social media presence. I'm feeling like we need a TikTok specifically for that, or we need a YouTube story or something else, because I think Zach's, it's entertaining as hell. The next place you're going to find me here is next week on Saturday, if I remember correctly.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully that's the case.
And so, yeah, that's the next thing going on for me. I got a couple other things brewing, but nothing to talk about yet.
Awesome. Thank you, Johnny. Good stuff. And yes, in all likelihood, chat, we will have these folks back next week, so you won't have to wait too long hanging on the cliff or on the edge of a fissure with a river behind it, running through it, to see what happens to these folks. And again, thank you, everybody, for the cheers that we had today, which go to the players and will be distributed to them depending on how much we might save it and put it together with the next 2 sessions to make it be a bigger amount, but we'll see. But either way, thank you, Chad, for doing that, because that is very much appreciated. And thank you for spreading the word about again, I'm not going to force it down their throats, but if they want to call themselves the Mixed Messages, I have heard worse group names. I'm just saying, like, that. If that's what this crew wants, I'm all there for it. But thank you to these wonderful players. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing players of Zach Clay, Kat Rambo, Toya Kristen Finley, and Johnny Pittman? Thank you, players, so much. Great stuff, and I will see you folks in a week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye for now. All right. I'm totally all about Premium Beefy. Premium Beefy is also funny. I just think Mixed Messages, though, is so appropriate on so many levels that even for the campaign, Mixed Messages sort of fits, that I'm kind of enamored of that personally. I don't know. I love the idea of the Mixed Messages. Anyway, great time today. And again, I want to thank Alligator Alley Entertainment for sponsoring us in this campaign. And yeah, we've got actually we got a lot in this stuff that's coming up, a bunch of stuff that's going to be happening as a part of this campaign. Again, the idea is, for those of you who have not seen this campaign before, there were science fiction characters and fantasy characters. The science fiction characters here are the ones they've been playing for the last few sessions. They will begin this next session with it, but it's not going to take the whole session. And afterwards, they're going to come back to their fantasy characters. My hope is that they will get through what's left of this fight. They will switch back to their fantasy characters, and then they will be connected and brought together in the next section. And at that point, the party will have a choice to make, where a couple of them, where they're going to have to choose between their fantasy and their Espergenesis character. It is sort of optimally balanced for an equal number of each. But I'm pretty confident that we'll get at least one of them will be willing to do their one or the other. Like it's not going to be all fantasy or all Esper Genesis. I'm pretty confident that we'll get one at least of either one. And if we get two of each, that's better. And it was interesting watching chat decide about whether or not what they liked and whether they wanted to go with just fantasy or just science fiction or all of that. And I thought that was interesting. I myself like all of them in a lot of different ways. So it would be difficult. Yeah, Prince Justin, it would be hard. I mean, I have some that I think are sort of cool. I don't know, man. Like I was like, man, a beholder that doesn't know it's a beholder is a pretty epic, awesome fantasy character. But Titus is cool too. I like, how do you, I don't know. It'll be, and I'm glad that the players are the ones who will be making the decisions. I will be making some consultations, but you would go Fob, so that'd be Kat's character. Titus would be Johnny's. Nola, and then Zach is the tough one. Right. Noel's that right. That is Toya's, and then Zach would be the one that would be hard between Dr. Jaraxxus and Beauty. Why not both? Well, yeah, it's so tough. I could yeah. I mean, and again, and also they can also think a little bit about balancing things mechanically. This is stuff that they'll chat up and talk about as well. There is a possibility that farther on in the campaign, much farther, we may cross paths with the characters that they don't choose, but it's going to be a while, and I don't want to promise it because it's not a guarantee that they will connect again. But they might. So I guess I would throw out there as you may not have seen the end of whatever the character that they don't choose is, but I want them to be thinking of it in terms of this is what we need to do for the foreseeable, future in this campaign as they're all brought together. And by the way, I love this combat encounter too, because this really is kind of, as Johnny was talking about, it's a mashup. It is sort of the best of science fiction as far as humor and then more serious stuff, but it also was a mashup of what looks like kind of a wizard guy versus two covered, armored, Magtech. It looks like some kind of Magtech armored creatures that are, obviously tech-based. So you have fantasy, dragon, and you have tech-based, these things, and then you have fantasy, whatever this guy is. So you have a real mixture, which is one of the great appeals of this adventure, and that is a perfect homage, again, to Expedition from the Barrier Peak. So it's cool. I'm excited for it. But right now, we do have to rise up on out of here, and so I'm going to thank all of you and remind you about ways to support the channel. If you have not done so already, please follow us here on the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube, and please subscribe to me over there. You can see past broadcasts of this and other streams. I have an Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks playlist, so please head over there and you'll be able to see all the previous sessions of this. Twitter is, ArvTweets, is my Twitter, where you can follow me over there. !ArvCord, I think I already mentioned, where you can follow, you can join the Discord and hang out with us in between streams. You had a couple of new followers, so definitely check that out as you go through. And of course, the website for all of this is arvaneleron.com. Financially, !Arv Shop is my merchandise area where you can get stuff for the Infinity and Beyond crew. And for a couple of others, that shop is going to be under substantial renovation, though, very soon, because we have new campaigns and new things to put up there, and we just need to get a handle on the merchandise stuff, because we've been through some changes since I first started that a few years ago. So that is going to be getting a substantial overhaul, but it does benefit the channel, so definitely do consider something along those lines. And then we've got that. We've also got !ArvTreon. That's that Patreon sitting right over there. 20 patrons, $203 per month. That is really the financial backbone of the channel and allows me to do things like pay for the videos and pay for the overlays and pay the Arvocalists and, do stuff like that. So it allows us, and pay for the games that the chat wants me to play sometimes too. So all of that is made possible through that and through the subsystem, and you can get different things through each. So obviously supporting both is great, as many of you I know do, but otherwise you can get cool stuff in the Patreon for you individually and for the channel. I would love to do another Talisman tournament, would love to do another writing contest, but again, that number would need to go higher for that to happen. And then subbing to the channel, of course, is really great as well. You get those sub badges and emotes to use everywhere across Twitch and use those inspirations. Arudinel used one of those today to good effect. correct. And so the curse of Rudenell's inspirations have been broken. Now Rudenell is going to be, it's a hot commodity now. Everyone's going to want a Rudenell's inspirations to use in their role-playing games. So that's going to be going on with that. And you can definitely support us by supporting the channel that way. I know. It's like the curse has been broken. So there's that. Then we have the publishing stuff, Exclamation Point Icarus for my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Exclamation Point Library, that is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. It is my, and I'm very happy to be able to say this, 5e compatible, and it is going to still be 5e compatible, no problems there, thank goodness, for adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, which is, again, the company behind that sponsored this campaign, Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. Yeah, they'll make you roll 3 ones on D20. So there's that. And then, of course, Exclamation Point... Sorry, I did Icarus. Greyshade, Exclamation Point Greyshade, for my novel, which came out last year about your favorite neighborhood religious assassin. The sequel to that, Renegade, will be out later this year, and Heretic, the finale of the Grey Assassin trilogy, will be out next year. In addition to that, if you go over to that link, you can also pre-order a copy of the tabletop role-playing game from Brandon O'Brien. Alligator Alley, again, is responsible for that, so another reason to support us here. There's that, and then also the audiobook by Trent Sparks is coming out later this year of Greyshade, and I am super excited for that also. Hi, Crit Twitch. So it'll be good for all of that. It's going to be amazing. So finally, Exclamation Point BLM, Black Lives Matter, very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation Point Help Now, that's the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and to reach out to others when they need help as well. And Exclamation Point Ukraine, to help the people of Ukraine. What is going on? There we go. To help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war. This is our chance to both help them as they fight back against this devastating war with bravery and courage, and to stand up as well, stepping forward and sending the message that we will do this in other cases also. Finally, thank you as well to everybody who did the cheering tonight. We had 2,114 bits, 2114, which amounts to $21.14, which will be distributed among the players. I will probably wait until we get the cheers from next month, and then I'll put those all together and we'll distribute them to the players. So thank you, everybody. This is something that if it continues to work well, I will start rolling out to other campaigns also, so that people can, there could be like targeted stuff, you know, where if you really want to support a particular group of players, you can do that. And I am appreciative, and I know that they folks are as well. That's what I actually meant to say. We are going to do a raid today, I think. If you are not a sub, you are going to do this, which is the Arvanauts Have Landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are a sub, then you can do this. The Arvanauts Have Landed, Arvany Hype, Twitch Raid, Arvany Roar, Arvany Witch, Arvany What, Arvany Smug, all the Arvanys, when you are brought over automagically during the course of the raid. And the last thing, very funny, then I'll type in Dom Raid, Shadowed Mage, and then I'm not even going to take the bait. I will just let that hang out in the air. Very funny. Yeah, one quick note, by the way, that I want to make just quickly. I don't want to get a big discussion about this because I have some work I have to get done today. But I do want to say very quickly, congratulations to the community at large for having pushed back with firmness and confidence and unifying together, so that WotC basically had a full retreat. There's no other way to put that. Not simply because they have said in perpetuity that they are not going to touch the OGL 1.0a. It's not going to be touched. It's going to stay exactly as it is. They already had dropped all the royalty stuff. I don't think people really fully understand the impact of putting the entire 5.1 SRD, which means all of the rules and mechanics and systems of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, into Creative Commons. That is an extraordinary step. And even the most optimistic people never thought they were going to do all of that. That to me suggests, A, that WotC had the fear of God put into it because they were like, oh my God, wait a minute. They saw all the third parties coming together to unify, to make other systems. They saw the cancellations from D&D Beyond. They saw the upcoming D&D movie losing sales, and they were like, we can't go down this road. But I also want to say, obviously this was an own goal and they shouldn't have made this mistake. But we also as a community need to take yes for an answer. They are not going to now disband and like fire everyone in the entire company and like salt the earth. Okay, like that's not going to happen. Now we need to take yes for an answer and say, you know, you made a big mistake. You broke some trust. You got that trust to be rebuilt. But good job on this decision, because this is not a decision they needed to make. That is a big deal, putting that stuff into the Creative Commons. So I do want now for people to also give a little space and be reasonable, because a lot of the 5e people and people who are doing stuff in 5e, like perhaps making a game called Greyshade in 5e with 5e compatibility, are very happy now that they get to still do that, and are very happy that I don't have to end many of my campaigns on this channel, which are 5e compatible. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And also I happen to really like 5th edition as well. So like, sue me, like I happen to like it a lot. So I'm really proud of the community response. I also want us now to be like, good work. Obviously trust but verify. Don't assume that they won't try something down the line. Yeah, that's all true. But now I think we can leave behind the let's continue to boycott and salt the earth and destroy everything. I don't think that's needed now. But I do think that getting this is a good call. And it's possible that the next system they do, 6th edition, D&D 1, whatever, it's possible that will have a different OGL and it'll be much more restrictive. I think that's a silly idea for them to do, just because I think it's going to hurt their own sales. But if they do that, fine. That to me is a decision to make on that level. The problem with this was that they were trying to retroactively, as Arudinel said, go back and undercut what had already been declared to be irrevocable and permanent. I also agree that that was never going to hold up in court, but it would have been a huge problem, and there would have been a lot of stuff up in limbo. And, I'm just glad they didn't do that. And I have a number of friends. I have friends who work, who are connected with Wizards. I have a number of friends who rely on them for different compatibilities. So if what comes out of this is that we get to keep doing 5th edition, 6th edition, maybe they come and give us a much more open thing for that than we might have expected. And if, as a consequence, it also means that we get other good secondary systems, other types of systems that, Black Flag from Kobold Press, that of course our good friend Dot is working on, and those things, if that also comes out, so we have good stuff from third parties and good stuff from WotC, then it's all good. And in that case, then something very good will have come out of this. But I know that it was very disruptive for a lot of people, very upsetting for a lot of people. And I give credit to everyone who made a very clear and firm and definitive statement with their money and their dollars and said, we're not going to allow this. The fact that WotC backed down to this extent is extraordinary, and will also, I predict, have ripple effects. Exactly what Triff had said. This will have ripple effects, I predict, as well on the video game industry too, because you've got to know that the video game companies saw what just happened, and the players saw what happened when an entire community bands together. The survey that was cited by WotC in deciding to, go back entirely, this D&D Beyond based survey, 15,000 people filled it out. And something on the order of, I don't remember the number, like 94% or something wanted to stay with the OGL as it was. Like overwhelming numbers. 65 or something percent wanted to go to Creative Commons, and the ones who didn't wanted more Creative Commons than was originally suggested by WotC. So they heard, for all of the talk about they're not listening, they did listen. They heard and they acted on that. And that's a big deal. So it's proof that when as a community we come together, fully support and push in one direction, and don't just say, the hell with it, forget it, and salt the earth and whatever, but actually say, we are going to definitively claim that if you do this, we are done with you, and here's what we demand, and so on, in a reasonable way, exactly the way that most of the community did. We have a lot of power there. So I feel very optimistic on a role-playing level, on a creator level who works within this space a fair bit. I'm very optimistic about this, and I think this is very good for everyone in the industry, both people who love D&D and people who like other systems that are also going to get more attention as a result of all of this. All of that is a good thing. So I think I'm sorry it was so disruptive to people for the last few weeks, for sure. And I'm not in any way saying it didn't have an impact. It did. But I am glad that we've come out of the other side of it, I think, with the hobby, with the industry in a much stronger position than it was. So I think that's good. Yes, exactly. It's weird, Drew. I was thinking about that. It's like it's right on the tip of my tongue. It's like when people come together in a group, in a association, in a aggregate, rhymes with Lunion. Proud member, 20+ year member right here. Proud member of a union. Unions work, folks. Unions work. Keep that in mind. All right. I'm going to rise up on out of here. Support your local unions. That's another sign of this as well. But anyway, it's very good news for the industry, very good news for the hobby. By the way, I know I need to stop, but by the way, the latest D&D one that they are coming up with, I don't know if you saw this, the latest book, is a book that's called like Tales from the Golden Heist or something like that. It basically it sounds like, from its description, it's a series of actual, like, heists, like actual thieving stuff. Here's where all the Blades in the Dark folks Kool-Aid man their way through. We already do that in Blades. I know. And I just played Court of Blades, a Blades hack yesterday. Blades is great. But I was just thinking, like, how awesome is that? And I immediately was like, I wonder what groups of the groups that I have, maybe if that's something down the line that might be another campaign for them. Is it the Eberron crew? That maybe when Infinity Beyond's is done with Eberron, maybe that's up next for them. Maybe when we wrap up Ghosts of Saltmarsh, maybe the GOG crew might take that on. Who knows? But it's exciting to see the possibilities about that. I saw that immediately. I was like, I'm sensing some Leverage Mission Impossible vibes, and I'm like, that would be pretty cool. So we'll see. Anyway, so one last announcement that I want to make before we go off and handle our raid is Tuesday, folks, is the launch of Shire Adventures, and I need to make an appeal to the community here. Shire Adventures is launching at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. I'm extremely excited about this adventure. I'm extremely excited about this campaign, and Free League has stepped up with dollars. They have stepped up with financial support to support us here. We are very excited about this. The video is so great. I love the video, and I think you will love the feel of this. I was thinking about Emily talking about how this was a good mental health experience for her going through this, because it was just everyone having a lot of fun with each other. We have fun in all our campaigns, but I think that has the kind of tone that people are going to love, that sort of feeling. And so 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern is going to be the launch time on Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry, Crit Twitch. Again, not my usual time on Tuesday. So remember, when we do Shire Adventures, those are going to be running on Tuesdays from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And when that happens, I'll be over on GOG first. With Pen and Pixels, 1 to 4 over there, and then 5 to 8 p.m. here. So it's 5 Eastern on Tuesdays for Shire Adventures, and the premiere of Shire Adventures is this Tuesday with the same Adventures of Middle-earth crew. So you'll have Tari Toons, you'll have Amal, you'll have Brad, and you'll have Tren back with you for Shire Adventures. Yes. Has a lot to live up to. Totally agree. And the feel, it still feels it's very clearly Lord of the Rings, like it feels very Middle-earth, but the characters and the nature of it feels somewhat different. If you look at my Twitter and you look at the drawing that Tari did, that's Tari's art of the group, you'll get a sense of what the feel of it is. I think it's going to be great. Is it 5 or more 5:30? No, I mean, well, it depends on the players. I'm going to be there by 5. I mean, we're supposed to get ready by 5 p.m. Eastern. It's not going to be 5:30. No, it'll definitely be 5. It might be 5:05. I mean, the stream is going to be up and running by 5. But it might be 5:05 or whatever until we actually have people that are sort of meeting each other. So that's the deal. Yeah. Totally agree, Arudnell. And this one also really feels a lot like that. It was a lot of the same people, actually. A couple of the same people were involved in designing it. And so, I'm excited also. We're also in a whole other region of the world. Everything has been over in Wilderland, pretty much for the most part. We haven't done anything over we've been over in Erebor, not in Eriador, right? Like we haven't been west of the Misty Mountains. We haven't been in the Shire. We haven't been in all that area. And so I think it's cool to spend some time there as well. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to see, there's definitely something about that. So yeah, vamping, I know, right? Exactly. But it definitely has, again, the other campaign was a little more serious, and certainly not like, hilarious, like not dour, but you all know, I mean, it definitely had more of a serious tone. This at the beginning will feel a little bit more in line with where we're starting in the Shire. And that I think is going to be fun in its own way. Me and Utgash in my heart. Ah, yes. Hashtag never forget Utgash. All right, chat. I'm going to rise up on out of here. So remember that stuff for the raid. I want to thank everyone who was here tonight. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Rudnell, Dragonspear, Drew the Damager, Emily the Invincible, Hillness, Prince Justin, Shadowed Mage, Triffany Mats. Very much a power showing from the mods today. The best mods in the business. Thank you so much, mods. Thank you as well to my Patreon supporters and subscribers. Thank you, Rudnell, Dragonspear, Drew. Speaking of Drew, tomorrow night, I believe, Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, Drew's going to be back streaming. So definitely, I was there for part of Drew's stream. It was great. Definitely check out Drew's stream tomorrow. Follow him if you're not, and head over there. It's going to be good times tomorrow night. Emily the Invincible, Hillness, Prince Justin, Shadow, Triffid, Crit Twitch, all supporters and subscribers. Thank you, all lovely folks. Thank you to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Mrs. Dunsel is here. Thank you, Mrs. Dunsel. Hey. Thank you to Zero One Ella. Thank you to Actually Hannah. Thank you to Black Fury, to Cat Rambo, to Harlequin, Jagtress, to Kata and Sophia Cal. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Alligator Alley for their sponsorship of us. And thank you so much to my wonderful players as always. Thank you to Johnny. Thank you to Toya. Thank you to Zach. And thank you to Kat for being amazing members of the Mixed Messages crew. But very excited to continue this next week with more Expedition. We'll be dark tomorrow. Go check out Drew tomorrow night on Sunday. We'll be off Monday. Tuesday we will be back on GOG at 1 p.m. Eastern for Chained Echoes with Pen and Pixels, and then here at 5 p.m. Eastern for the premiere of Shire Adventures. That's and the end of January, by the way. That's going to do it for me. Thanks, everyone. Much love. Stick around for the raid, and I will see you folks soon. Until then, everyone be good to each other, and have a good night.